Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 3 of the Throneroom stage. It's Acropolis number 1, year 2. That's right, Cosmonarchy. The greatest game ever made? Maybe. But probably it's just the greatest RTS ever made. You know, a low bar to hit. We've got the Shambler going up against Neblime. It's a storied matchup that's happened many a time in Cosmonarchy history. And for this very first tournament, we have it in the upper final. I'm excited about that matchup. That's the only one that hasn't already been played. And while I don't know who's moving on from this one, I must assure you that some banger games await us. Neblime against the Shambler. That's Zerg versus Protoss. And it's not because Neblime has switched to Protoss, it's because Neblime switched to Zerg and Shambler switched to Protoss. What's going on here? Well, let's just say that our competitors are nearly ready. And so I hope you at home are ready as well. We can start by talking about the upper seed in this particular matchup. The Shambler, looking imperious, has actually only dropped a single match so far in all of the Throneroom stage, as well as all of the tournament proper. We think about his battlements run was flawless, albeit some of the games looking perhaps a touch shaky. He loses a single match in a mirror against General Anakin, and then he 3-0s Hupsaiya. Unthinkable scenes, and yet here he stands, only having suffered one loss thus far. Neblime, on the other hand, he had a bit of a bruising in the hands of Top Ramen in his battlement stage. Then he went on to lose a single match in his best of 5 against Newt to open things up in the Throneroom stage. And now he is here doing his best to see what he can make happen against the Shambler. And would you just look at this guy's mug? I mean, he's lost one match to Hamster, one match to Newt, and one match in battlements. That's a total of 3. Maybe now he's accrued his 3 losses, and he's decided that 3 is a pretty good number, and he wants to keep it that way. But to do that, he'll need to get 3 wins against the Shambler, and I'm not so sure that something like that will happen. But these 3s aside, we will soon have an answer as to who is going to take the upper final, who is going to get into the grand final first. Because maybe this is just a rematch of that eventual capstone series. A best of 7 awaits, but this is simply a best of 5. First to 3, we'll take it all. We're going to be starting on a map called Derelict by BiddyB. But before that, it should be noted that this is maybe the first playoff stage match in the upper bracket where Fata Morgana is not banned. Maybe Taco Cake left it open at one point, but I'm pretty sure that that's a bit of an anomaly here. Fata Morgana, a map that Neblime almost always bans, but here he banned what did he see? Let's see. The Shambler banned Germination. Neblime banned Titan Forge. Of course, it's the Shambler's map. And then the second and final ban of the set was Shambler banning out Sideshow, a Zerg-favored map in many people's estimations. We go in to none other than Derelict as the starter, and that leaves us with Axiom, Fata Morgana, Impetus, and the Purgatory as other potential destinations once the first match is taken care of. So I am very excited about this one, ladies and gents. And after this match is all done and concluded, we have 2 lower bracket matches to cast alongside the handsome Neblime. Hupsaiya versus Newt, a Protoss versus Terran. And Hamster versus Art of Turtle, another Protoss versus Zerg. I hope you guys are situated, as it looks like we're pretty much about ready to get into things here. But let me go ahead and ask our players if they are ready. Because, of course, this is actually a live match. Always nice to get these ones done. It'll be Neblime against the Shambler. And I am liking our odds for a banger of a match. So put your hands together, because this is the upper final, goddammit! We're in. This room's clear. Neblime in the bottom left, Shambler in the top right. It's Derelict, baby! We can expect some great things, spectacular things, wondrous sights. Neblime Zerg, perhaps the strongest Zerg in the tournament. Well, his only competition at this point is Art of Turtle. We'll see how he's doing at the end of the show. The Shambler, on the other hand, playing as Protoss, looking pretty good, pretty damn powerful. But can he do it for his grandpappy? Can he make it happen so that he can secure his lineage immortalized within Cosmonarchy? I feel like it could be a thing. It could happen. We shall see. What will the builds be? What has Neblime been cooking? It's a little early down in Australia, the land down under. And I have a feeling that Shambler is thinking about an interesting placement. He's placed his pylon in a very defensive formation. This is anti-7 pool, but that's not really Neblime's style. Instead, he's going to go ahead and drop a hatch at the ramp, very much more like his style, and he will dispatch a scout. Now, when we have this gateway finished, by the time it warps in, I mean, we saw Shambler thinking about taking another one there, but it looks like he's decided not to just yet. There we go. A second gateway is coming down after all. Interesting. Okay, so we are going to see the 2-gate. I don't see any gas being harvested just yet. He's scoping out the place, seeing what his opponent is up to. What's the first unit out of the gateway? A Zealot and not a Legionnaire. So that's a little bit telling. It means that at this stage, Shambler doesn't really feel like he can get across the map fast enough to do any damage with the Legionnaire. Or that's just not really his MO. He's not really interested in that. He's obviously seen the pool by now, so he knows that his opponent is not doing anything super out of the ordinary. And with Neblime scouting a second gateway, he might be able to get away with his worker here. I think he wants to take another dive in to see if there's any gas mining, and there isn't. So that could be a nice little indication here for Shambler to watch out for that. He's got to sort of escort the Zealot into attacking the worker because of the movement speed. It's, let's just say Shambler's not super accustomed to doing that. He likes his Legionnaire openers instead, and maybe we can see why there. He's going to be Zealot flooding, it looks like, at least for now. We do have a very, very fast defensive structure being put down here by the Zerg. So Neblime going to go for that Circuit, and this is an unconventional situation. Normally you see the static defense being put closer to here, but instead it's going to be on this location. Neblime dealing with his equipment will give us an opportunity to take a look at his face. Who is the man responsible? It's this goddamn Lemon. Although every time I mentioned Lemon, Neblime says, I'm not Lemon. Neblime is in tatters, his mouse in an absolute state. A shambles for Shambler. This is an advantage for him. Ben, you almost missed it. Instead, Neblime's mouse missed it. I'll leave a timestamp in the VOD so that when people are watching this back later, they can skip the technical issue. No worries there. If you guys have missed what we just started off with, obviously Neblime opening with the hatch on the ramp into a very fast Circuit after scouting 2-gate as the opener for Shambler, who has started to mine a little bit of Vespene, but not that much. Not that much. I hope everybody's having a great time today. It's a beautiful Saturday for some Cosmonarchy, some live Cosmonarchy action, and that sometimes means... well, what do you think it means? Sometimes it means memes. Like when his mouse goes. Alright, we are getting ready to unpause the game. And you know what that means? This replay's probably busted. But don't worry, you guys have the VOD immortalized no matter what. So, it will be a Circuit and Zeths as the initial set of units. I'm guessing he knows that it's going to be some Zealots, because the first unit was a Zealot and no gas was being harvested later. So, he pockets the Zeths, which is an interesting choice, expecting Shambler to go across the map. Well, I like the idea. See if it pays off for him. 4 Zeths aren't going to be able to do a crazy amount by themselves, but if they catch a right timing here, especially with the Nexus going down, there's not going to be too many more units at home. Circuith is indeed going to be effective at initially destabilizing the shields of these Zealots, but it is going to just get run on past. This is the danger of going for static defense. However, it's melee units, and they're up against Quasis that can kite backwards. One worker has already been claimed. The Zeth counterattack needs to deal a very heavy amount of damage, but is Neblime going to have the wherewithal to micro on multiple fronts? His Zeths are already on the front line there, and they've charged in, but it looks like they're going to be pushed away from that pylon. A proxy pylon going to go ahead and be made instead. That will definitely safeguard that. Ooh, nice little drill there, but it's not going to decollide the Zealot. Instead, he just gets picked off after the fact. The Zeth's running on home, tails tucked between their legs, not really able to get too much damage dealt. Shambler coming in with some nice strategies here to go for the Zealots instead of the Legionnaires, something that Neblime was not ready for. Circuith completely nullified by walking on past it. Dealt a little bit of damage to one of the Zealots in terms of hull. One Zeth sticking around just to see that indeed the Nexus is on the way. We've got... we've got another one. We've got another one. He starts to lose. Then he starts to complain about his mouse. Now I'm giving him a little bit of a rough time here, but nobody likes to play with a broken mouse. I think Shambler was in the middle of doing something there. In general, by the way, guys, the idea is that you go for you type PP and I will pause as the host, you know, as the tournament guy, the ref, if you will, or otherwise you say PP and then tell the other guy pauses. I mean, Shambler's been around the community for long enough. I think he'll recognize. PP stands for please pause, but it can also stand for my mouse is being a poo-poo head. Spray Mosu. He is not a lemon. He is a lime. That's why he's angry. But look at him, dude. He's a lemon. You think maybe he's a lime that was face painted or dressed up wrong? What if I recolor him to green? Will that make him a lime? We got Crank in the chat. We got Stephen Killingback in the chat. We got Comical Flop in the chat. What's up, guys? Just have a brief technical issue while Neblime sorts out his mouse situation. I wonder what people's equipment looks like, generally speaking, when they play an RTS. Because I come from a little bit of a mixed background where I go both down the, you know, sort of rabbit hole of Brood War, but I also have a lot of affinity for Counter-Strike, and I've studied that scene a lot. And they are so particular about their peripherals, both on the enthusiast side and the pro side. They're really big on their peripherals. What up, Dead Infested? Welcome, sir. So as we wait for Neblime to find a spare mouse, or indeed, as chat pointed out, spray Mozu. He's going to mosey you on down to the cabinet. The VOD timestamp for this one is going to look very funny, because it's going to be like, map 1 start. And then technical issue, skip here. And then map 1 continues, and then technical issue. Looks like we might be ready to get back into it. Waiting for Shambler to confirm on his side. All right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, with a new mouse equipped. Neblime will go ahead and go for his drop. Just a single Ovaleth, filled to the brim with 5 Quasis and a single Zeth. Interesting choice. I feel like maybe he wanted the 6 Quasis, but he probably right-clicked everything. Now, there are 6 Zealots out here. It is Mass Zealot here for Shambler. A strat that, if you're coming in here from Starcraft 1, you're like, oh yeah, sure, Zealots versus Zerg. Well, there's 50 units per race in this game, so it's a little bit different than that. And we definitely don't always see Zealots being the pièce de résistance, but Shambler, he's done some homework, or at least some theory, coming in here with a plan. Second Nexus is up and running. Neblime has a lot of money in the bank here, but he's not exactly keen on spending it just yet. I definitely think he wants a... Okay, he was waiting for the gas for the den, and I think he maybe wanted to poke out for a low ground hatch so that he could expand, but with this force, he does not have the ability to deal with those zealots. We've got 2 more back at home. Not the greatest standing force, and we are starting to see some Hierophants and Drax. He's trying to drag these forces in and force Shambler to, you know, use his multitasking and maybe hopefully allow this Ovoleth to get in on the ranks, and in fact, it's going to happen. Shambler has not looked at his main base, and his units are going to go all the way onto the rally. We are going to see some counter worker damage be hit here. The Ovoleth should evacuate almost immediately, and the Quasis need to focus on those workers. What else can be done? Actually, Shambler has completely allowed Neblime to slip the net with a huge amount of Zets coming on in. I don't know if he even saw that. The Quasi's still at large in the base. Worker count starting to dwindle. Shambler only building a witness right now despite the money that he has in the bank. And okay, he sure does drill all the way on top of them, but now he's got to deal with all the Zets that have made it their way through. Reinforcement units are over here to try to hold the ramp in case the counterattack comes, and I think this Nexus could end up falling. We only have 3 Striders and a Zealot over here for defense. One of them already getting popped. Now the Zealots are forced out of the choke. All right, Neblime, what more do you have for us here? In a remarkable situation, taking advantage of Shambler and his subpar micro, now going to go ahead and try to get a cheeky engage with his escaping units, but the Protoss power, a little bit too powerful, a little bit too high. Hatrask at the natural. And Shambler's not going to be too happy about that, but he still maintains a worker advantage and does have the embassy out. So despite that damage, all I think Neblime did was minorly attempt an equalizer. And I say attempt because I'm not actually sure he's anywhere close to even right now. He does have a worker disadvantage, but he has an extra hatch coming up here. He will, of course, have 4 hatch production once his natural finishes, and he can start to get a little bit more gas. We've got a Stargate in here, but Neblime is the kind of guy to go for the Ovoleth Scout no matter what. And, of course, he has the Quasis in here again. Maybe he can get some damage. Remember that Shambler is continuing to move forward. His witness is going to see that the Hydra's Den is up and running, and Hydras are indeed coming out. In Cosmonarchy, you can select eggs to see what units are being made, so that is something that Shambler can be aware of. His Zealots are not in a strong enough number here to deal with these Hydras, though. They will indeed get bursted down, and Shambler has to think twice about that. In fact, I think he's in egregious amounts of trouble right now. He does have some anti-drop setup over here, so at least the Quasis won't get too much damage dealt, but those Drakodins are going to have to contend with that, and they're busy trying to deal with the forces in the drop. That means that they can't come to the front, and the Hydras are on their way. Stargate finishes. A couple of workers are being picked off here because those Drakodins were not focus firing. I think he's going to lose at least 1 more worker. And it looks like Neblime thinks so too. Hydra's pushing forward. Hierophant Drakodin. I feel like maybe Shambler's on his last legs over here all of a sudden. The swing happening massively, thinking that his opponent was going for the Expo, but the macro, that wasn't necessarily Neblime's focus. He barely has any money in the bank, but he's still pushing in, and despite an almost 10 worker advantage here, Shambler's got to hold on with only the couple of units that he's making, none of which are going to be on the front line. Well, the number of Hydras is dwindling here. We've got 6 in the base. The 1 Gladius will be tested, that's for sure. One of the Quasilisks is being put down. We've got more units spawning in on the other side. I do think that Shambler will be able to hold, but he needs to micro his little heart out right about now. Otherwise, he's not going to really have much of a worker advantage because he's just going to end up getting eaten up live. But it looks like the bounces are going to be good enough. Nice 1-2 punch to finish off the wounded Hydras, and the 1 Gladius will be more than capable of dealing with this. We've only got small spatterings of Zerg being streamed on in at this point. And there it goes. A pylon in the mineral line, using the workers against the Hydra while the Drakodins mass back up. We've got Zealots being made. Remember that Shambler's economy is much better than Neblime's right now. He has the 10 worker advantage, and the natural has not even really begun to be saturated, but the Hydras are still poking in. Drakodins falling on back. Neblime, my man, you've got to start building up some anti-air defenses back at home. It looks like that's what he thinks, but these pushes, with just 4 Hydras, he's still able to try to rip out enough of these scribes. The Gladius is going to be more than sufficient to bounce through this, though. More and more Hydras coming on in. Maybe a single Gladius could get picked. A second Stargate is going to be the sort of move here, but now, yeah, that's a Gladius going down. That's not at all what Shambler wanted to be doing in this situation. He has more units here, including a second Gladius, and that should be enough to initially end this push. But now, look at the worker count. Neblime has eaten up a lot of these scribes, and that Warden, sure, it's going to come on down, but this could have been a lot better for Shambler if he had just tried to hold this one out a little bit more aggressively. That Warden could get focused down too, but it looks like it's not going to happen. What a chaotic opening to the game. Undoubtedly, a bit of frustration building for the Protoss, who was ahead before all the pauses came in, mind you. But Neblime did a tactical mouse break, and ever since then, he's just immediately tried to put the pressure back on. Oh, Shambler. Well, listen, the trade-off of building all those workers that Neblime definitely does have is that he only has a small spattering of Hydras remaining. He did get a very important pick on one of the Gladiuses, but we can still see those Gladiuses reign supreme here in a moment. And the Zealots will be more than enough of a front line to force those Hydras to either stand and fight and die or fall on back. And right now, Neblime is just trying to make sure that he buys enough time for his next round of Hydras to work up back at home. And Shambler cannot ignore this force because he only has the 2 Wardens over here and doesn't have that many units coming up. So he feels the need to push on forward, do what he can to make this happen. And now the turn on the Gladius happens as the Draconans and most of the Zealots are all the way out of position. That is a crushing blow where Shambler was not watching where his units were going. Punished immediately as a secret hidden base is being fomented. This ministry is neutral, which means you can return to it. The Ovaleth coming on over here and scooping up the workers and putting them where they need to go most. Extra Vespine. And now we've got Skithrakors coming. The Skiback Scab affording you that extra couple of units that you can make. You can evolve your Hydras into something that can help deal with some of these Zealot pushes. But most importantly, you can go for Skiths and deal with the Gladius count. Shambler in a lot of trouble. Down 10 workers and down multiple gas mining, right? You think about the way that the situation has evolved for him. Sure, he saturated his gas at the main and natural. He's mostly saturated the ridges. They're at 2 out of 3 on both his main and natural. He doesn't really have enough uptime right now to consistently produce Zealots plus Gladiuses, and certainly not at the commentary, the quantity that you really need at this point. And as the longer this base goes undiscovered, the more punishing of a position that Neblime will climb up to. 2 Gladiuses, just popping on in here to see what can be done over here. Seeing what the reaction is going to be. He's only got 2, though. A third one swooping on in. He's going to need to be very careful about the response. Skithrakors not yet discovered, but I think maybe the Skiback Scab was within vision range. Thinking about taking a 3rd base. If he can get up to a 3rd base, then this will cease to matter, because the gas mining will no longer be as impactful. But that's a pretty big if from where I'm standing. Four Gladiuses. But the Hydra stack, the Skith stack, there's 12 of them over here, and only 4 Gladiuses can't make it 3. I don't know if Shambler can make this happen. He's got some Ecclesias to try to shield up his Zealots, but they're getting focused down before they can even do anything. The Gladiuses have already bitten the dust, and back at home, there's not nearly enough to deal with that. There were no land effects made to punish the air stack. It was all Gladiuses to deal with the Hydra threat, and instead, I think that's pretty much all she wrote. Shambler has to go for a desperate engram in his main, and that is going to take a very long time to warp in. Seeing what he can do. The Gladius bounces are going to go ahead and continue to channel down. That's a lot of dead Skithrakors thanks to all those bounces. And the Zealots charging forward. Can Shambler perform yet another miracle hold? I'm not so sure. We've got 5 more Skiths to do their best at punishing this Gladius. But this number is not super performant, and now that the Zealots have been eaten on through thanks to the Hydra push, I'm not so sure Shambler's got it. He had his Gladius on a right click instead of actually attacking, so it wasn't even stacking up between all of the Skiths, but I think maybe, just maybe, he's going to be more than capable of dealing with this push after all. Not very many workers went down, but at this point, Neblime is building on the advantage, taking another base. His 3rd location is going to soon be flexed in, but these are not Hydras. These are only Zethrakors, so Shambler stays alive to see another battle. A couple more Gladiuses coming up here. Zealots off the 3 gate. Production being static. Another gas base being taken in the corner. Neblime will definitely be up to, at this point, what is 5 bases in terms of gas income once he gets his conventional 3rd set up. Gateways to stop the onslaught of units coming in. An engram defensive formation. Shambler not moving across the map for now as he tries to secure a 3rd base, but that's where the Zets can go. The Ovaleth coming in to scout as well. All the information, all of the advantages going in the favor of Neblime. This game was Shambler's to start with, but the mouse break and replacement, Neblime seems to have replaced his brain too, coming up with a very nice response to what Shambler had initially. I loved the Zealot push. I thought it was excellent. It had so much damage, but somehow Neblime has come up with a response immediately, using that not so tactical timeout there. The Ovoleth won't get too much done here besides scouting that indeed the gateway count is still low and the Stargates are doubled. But besides that, he doesn't know what's coming up in the natural. 2 additional gateways. He can, of course, scout that at any time. His push into the third only identifies that the third indeed does exist. We don't see any scouting towards those corners. I'm not so sure that Shambler had an idea that that strategy was prepared. He could have maybe shut Neblime down with that early Zealot push, and indeed looked like he was primed to do so. But when we consider the fact that this is Neblime's map pick, as long as he was able to stabilize, and he was able to take those corner bases. Another bit of a mini engage set up over here. Bactol's not going to get punished too much here. Oh no, Shambler's thinking about maybe pushing forward on that, but I don't think that that's so good. Gladius is going to get spotted out by this one unburrowed Zethricore. 2 more await back at home. Zeth's charging on forward. Workers borrowing almost immediately. No damage really exchanged so far, but that can all change in an instant. We've got 15 skits hounding and dogging the Gladiuses, which will also get picked up by some of these Hydras. Oh, it goes from bad to worse as Shambler starts to put down yet another Stargate. That's an expensive structure to be part of your wall, and you've only got the 3 Gladiuses back at home to join this guy. Maybe join him in the grave, because 15 skits are still at large, flying around, taking command of the skies and the Iral Iris to boot. Neblime feeling comfortable, expanding his tech, using that gas income in the corner bases that has gone completely unchecked by Shambler. How does he have so many skits? And how does he have tier 2 on the way after I check this goddamn replay? Shambler might be thinking to himself, the Gladius is coming up. They can be pretty huge in this fight. The Skithricores aren't going to be able to do too much, except they help to depower some of this defense. Only 16 of them left, but more of them flooding on in. And it's only 4 measly Gladiuses to try to hold back the charge. More Hydras flooding in from the bottom. I feel like this is going to be the point where Shambler calls GG. How is he going to be able to do anything without his third base? Down 20 workers, down 3 geyser incomes. That is too much. Way too much for him to deal with. Well, let's see if he can at least go out in a blaze of glory, taking out the Skithricores, doing his best to try to engage with them, but his Stargates back at home are idle. He's only being able to make 5 Zealots at a time. And meanwhile, as he cycles his Gladius back down, thinking about what to do in the next match at this point, because he is well and truly out of this one. Neblime has tier 2 finished. He can switch in at any point, but he smells blood in the water. Charging forward to use the Hydras to tank versus the Engram. They'll break it on down. The Gladius is doing their best to fall on back and distract the Skits so that the Zealots can maybe get something done, but it's not nearly enough. There's more reinforcements pouring on in, and Neblime's about to go up 1-0 in the upper final, with the last of the hopes for Shambler being crashing to the ground. That's going to be more than enough. Shambler calling GG. Well, I said calling GG, but that works out okay. Up 1-0. Neblime's map pick working out for him. Let's see. Let's see. That was a GG. I agree, Crank. Shambler tested his build here. I like that idea. We'll wait for him to select the next map. What's up, Patrick? I think if you factor in the casuals, it's probably a couple hundred. Competitive is around 50, and we keep on growing. It'll be Axiom selected for map number 2. Neblime reining in with a 1-0 start. I see Health Tricks in the chat. Welcome, sir. It's been a while. You just missed an excellent back and forth match. Knife's edge. I really thought Shambler was going to run away with it. But like I said, man, those pauses took his steam out. Trying to fix up his mouse. Neblime fixed himself up a win. He can only rely on that for so long, though. Come on now. Come on now. Admittedly, his mouse was apparently actually falling apart. So it's not like, oh, my, middle mouse button jammed or something, which would still be pretty bad. But it's literally falling to pieces in his hand. It's a little bit different. A little bit different. Yes, Shambler did indeed type, but only to say no more pausing, which, you know what? I can get behind. No more pausing. We go full throttle. You can tell, though, that even though Shambler had this Zealot gateway build idea in his mind, it absolutely is a pretty big move, and Neblime has to start to think about that because the Zealots did a lot of damage to him and forced him into a bad situation. Meanwhile, we have Axiom coming up here, which is a map that doesn't have those corner bases, so you can't do what Neblime did on Derelict, which is clearly his pick, which was to use Ovolets to transport the workers so that he can return to the neutral town centers in the corners, and that went completely unchecked, something that Shambler has clearly not played against before. So that's something that's worth pointing out too, is that Neblime picked Derelict for that reason. He had that idea, and Shambler wasn't able to punish it. Or maybe even didn't know it was happening. We wait for Shambler's ready. Now we're, funnily enough, waiting for him to type. Oh, I see. Shambler's finding background music. Alrighty then. Readies have exchanged, although Shambler's was a bit melodramatic. Don't worry, I have a protection for that. It's Neblime's face. And we are getting into Axiom! It is going to be Shambler in the bottom left, Neblime in the top right. I'm excited. I think the series could very well deliver. And that first game, very competitive. Shambler stuck it in for a long time, trying to see if he could make a way back in, but he didn't even know to what degree he was so far behind. And that's something you can really only do once. There's not another map like Derelict in the Pool where it has those kinds of easy-to-miss neutral expansions you can take. On Axiom, another map by the same author, BiddyB, you can take these treasuries in the middle of the map, but they're right by the middle of the map. You'll probably scout somebody by doing that. So it's interesting. It's one of those things that you've got to watch out for. Neblime has a couple of builds versus Gateway Aggression. I don't think that his opener on Derelict was very good. I think that Shambler had a much better opener. If he tries to run it back here, it'll be interesting to see if Neblime will have a counter to it. I think his Circuit was interestingly placed, but he didn't have any units out in the right time to actually deal with it, right? So the Zealots came in and just ignored the Circuit and also shrugged off all of the Quasis that Neblime is known to make early on. The 4 Zethrakors that he made early as well were trying to do a counterattack, and they did not succeed very well. So nice early pressure from Shambler to give him that advantage. Unfortunately, not able to finish the game off in style, so we'll see what Neblime can make happen here as he gets ready to put down his pool following his hatch. At the ramp, of course. Shambler going to pop on in here and scout and see what's up. Pool, hatch, pretty basic stuff. And we do have a Zealot coming. Just a little bit of worker harassment here, using that flash shielding. Shambler trying to get the worker health advantage here. At any point he can turn back around and start slapping that Drolla. There's few things more satisfying in life than killing the enemy worker, even if it's in their mineral line. Zealot just going to love tap the worker twice before Neblime moves on to continue the scout. Oh, he got him! Worker slain. Well, Neblime's going to be down a worker, and probably not happy about that. We've got a couple of pairs of Zeths being hatched over here. This will be more than enough to fight off the single Zealot. And the Circuit is better positioned to do some, inescapable damage. I love the Burrow Trap. It's something that, maybe Shambler will expect, maybe not. He's probably going to wait for that 3 Zealot timing so he can ignore the Quasis and such, but, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. He's poking around the extremities. Sees the Circuit, gets a little bit of info, does lose some of the hull damage there, as it's called. Got a bit of a patina to him. Running up and trying to see if he can slap those Quasis down. Slice and dice. But the Shambler has his own Shambler in the base. When you burrow your Worker Scout, it's known as the Shambler maneuver. You can tell Neblime is maybe overcommitting to this farce a little bit too much. Really, he's only got 2 Quasis, and he's trying to lure me up there. That would make me suspicious. We'll see if Shambler is feeling the same way. He's got a 4th Zealot now. After a certain point, the Zealot count gets scary enough that you have to start to think, wait, can my Zeths even do anything in this situation? Can I even defeat my opponent with the Zethra-cores? I'm not so sure, but he'll continue being annoying. Will it be enough? Has Shambler taken enough punishment? Well, the Zeths unburrow a little bit too early, I think, and that will definitely ward him off. But a Zealot is wounded, but not dead, and now here comes the Drakodin for maximum punishment. The 4 Zealots can absolutely kill the Circuit. Like, you gotta watch out for the situation. The fast Hydrith off of 1 base is Neblime's chosen path. He's going to go ahead and go for the Ovaleth. But that's just going to allow him to scout or maybe do a counter drop. He's not out of the woods. I know this might seem like, oh, he's got his defense on the high ground. He's got some Zeths over here. He is not out of the woods. And you don't want to make a second K-Grunt either, because that's just too many workers and not enough expanding. Oh, man, if these units get caught over here, Shambler could have done a nice crippling blow there. Instead, it's just going to soften up some of the units. He does thin out the herd a little bit. The Ovaleth is going to move out with without anything in its cargo hold, which is absolutely required. And now there's a bit of a ticking clock on this push, because when we get 3+ Hydras in the field, we are going to see Neblime push out and be able to win. Particularly, he's going to hold versus the Circuit. But, maybe he takes a little bit longer to actually push out, depending on where Shambler positions himself. We do have the expansion at about halfway here for Shambler, going after that Drakodin. Also a defensive Warden, because he knows that he's contained his opponent, so he doesn't want to die to a drop. We know that the drop is empty, right? The transport is empty, but that's pretty much it for now. Hierophant moving across. Let's see what more can be done. If I'm in Shambler's shoes, I'm definitely going to try to kite and use the flash shielding to its advantage, right? But right now, the Hydras are starting to come out, and in mass as well. With this number of Hydras that's going to pop out here in a moment, he's going to have like around 8. Neblime can absolutely push this force back using the Quas units as a bit of a fodder. There's only the 6 Zealots, one of them very wounded. This Ovaleth rather, not going to be able to do too much here, especially once it gets tagged by the Hierophant. Indeed it does. This is when Neblime chooses to charge on forward, and what does Shambler do? His units are on hold position. Well, he's going to go ahead and pull the trigger. The Zealots are now going to engage fight. And there's not really any front line here for Neblime, but he's slowly carving up through. Now with the Drakodins pushing on forward, it looks like they are indeed going to be bopped. Ignore the message, by the way. Everything is fine. So with the Drakodins basically routed here, Neblime is definitely going to be in a strong position insofar as he can start to spike up his production. I'd love to see another hatch somewhere, but he just hasn't had the money to do it. And at this point, we can see that Shambler is going to be ahead in terms of resources. It's so weird for me to call the Protoss Shambler. Like, when I see Zerg on the map and I say Shambler, I assume it's Shambler is the Zerg. But that's not the case this time around, so. Sacrificial Quasilisk. Couple of units getting tagged over here thanks to that Hierophant. Soften up those Hydras before they can really do too much. And nice little bit of attempted surround. A lot of these Hydras are going to get bled out, and that was a mistake from Neblime. You can tell with his unit movement. He just looks away, doesn't even look at them as they fall. He's like, oh man, I made a mistake. All right, let's move on to the next thing. And that's what we can make Neblime very battle-hardened competitor. I'll say that much. Someone that you got to watch out for. He has the gas for a Larvask. Indeed, he'll go for it, using some Vespene to pad his larva production. But that means that there's less in... Oh, don't soften it up. That was 100 damage you just did to your own hatch. 13 Hydras. They can defend this, especially with a little bit of cliff. But Shambler wants to tussle. coming in on a much worse angle here, and his Zealots are not actually on the front line, so he's going to kill the Kagrant, but I feel like he's going to end up losing a lot of his units here, and that is not a situation you want to be in. Oh, no. Oh, no. Not versus the Valley. Got a couple of units moving in on the other side. The Witness here to scout out that there is indeed a Hatcheros being put down. So we're going up to 5 hatch plus the Larvosk. This is going to be a lot, well, including the Larvosk. You got 5 hatch production. Probably a second Larvosk coming as well. Stargate is the answer. That's what Mr. Shambler thinks he's going to go for. Sticking to the same game plan as before, although his opener was a little bit less effective this time. And I don't know if Neblime's counter of burrowing the Zeths was particularly efficient, but I will say that the fact that he goes for a counter, that kind of shows you, right? Like, his response time to a strategy being deployed against him, even if he loses to that strategy, which he actually hasn't so far, it does mean that Shambler has to watch out for that. He might only be able to do these kinds of openers and get a lot of mileage out of them once. He can really only take advantage of Neblime's ignorance once. And almost immediately, Neblime is able to metabolize that and turn it into a counter strat. So going into Stargates, I mean, realistically speaking, Neblime knows how to play into Stargate. So this is not going to be unfamiliar territory for him. However, I do like the adaptation that Shambler has here. By putting them in the natural, it reduces the likelihood that his Stargates get killed the way that Hamsters did in the upper semifinal, where Neblime did that to Hamster and just dropped a bunch of Hydras on them. You can't really do the same thing over here and expect there to be a very long time before the Shambler's army moves back as a response. Got a couple of Legionnaires coming out. That's interesting as a bit of a mid-game adaptation. I'm wondering what those are for. Certainly could try to go for some run-bys. Shift right-click a bunch of workers, you know. Moving back out on the map, though. Ah, I see. The Legionnaires are for space creation. Trying to track where and when all of the units move out. He does end up catching a couple of Hydras out on the midsection here. Yeah, this is where Neblime has to watch out for, right? Like, his single concentration of army is not as good as Shambler's. He needs to get those surrounds off, but if, you know, the collapse comes in on one of the attempted flanks of the push, then Neblime's surround is no more. Third base going to come in a little bit faster, and we have a mass of drops. All of these Ovoleths are completely empty. They want to link up with the Hydras and maybe elevator in. A big phalanx coming on down here from the right-hand side. That's 15 Hydras, and a lot of them are coming in from the Meta as well. So this is the attempted surround. But again, the collapse coming in for the reinforcements from Shambler's rally point are going to be more than enough to deal with this initial push. And now the rest of these Hydras they have to face a choice. Do they go and link up with those Ovoleths that transport themselves in? But the Gladius has already come out, and again, Shambler has already adapted to this. He's put the Stargates on the low ground. You cannot get away with dropping the main and dealing critical damage to your opponent's expensive infrastructure. Not in the same way that you would want to. The Ovoleth's trying to circle back around, but these Hydras are about to get bopped, thanks to, in large part, to the Gladiuses empowering those shots over and over again. But now they are indeed going to be a little bit at risk of getting picked apart. Some Zealots to reinforce. Has he gotten enough time to get in and scoop up a lot of his units with the Ovoleths? I think maybe he has. Some more reinforcements just started streaming in. The Gateway buying a lot of space. The Ovoleths have not been spotted, so Shambler is unaware. None the wiser. His Gateway count, his Stargate count, looking okay overall. One brave soul. Not in the right spot to spot the incoming drops. I think Shambler's army is going to be out of position, but I do think that at the very least he's insulated himself against most of the pain that you might be able to have here. If he can clean up this understrength force, he can relieve a lot of the pressure. The Ovoleths are going to come in. They're entering vision range right about now. How quickly does Shambler react to the forces? I think not until his gateways start to get attacked. The one Warden in the back doing a little bit of counter damage, starting to hemorrhage a couple of those Hydras, and the Gladius is going to swoop on in. There's 4 of them, with 2 more a little bit of ways away. Some of these pylons are going to get focused down, but thankfully there was a redundancy in there. So it takes a long time to depower this stuff, and not that long to get rid of it. The Ovoleths are going to be the targets of the Gladius. I think that was a mistake from Shambler. He needed to wipe out the force in his main so he could keep hold of the third, and I think maybe with the reinforcements here, Neblime will be able to crush the third. Remember, that'll only put him back on even keel. Shambler has the worker advantage. He has almost 1.5x the worker count of his opponent, and oh man, I really feel like this is a mistake. I think Shambler has completely forgotten where his Gladiuses are, and he rallies the other ones directly overhead. That could have been the game-losing mistake there. He's only now trying to repower it, and he still hasn't cleared the Hydra Swarm that dropped into his main. Shambler maybe in a little bit of a shambles. His Stargate's idle, his gateway's unpowered, and even as his Gladiuses come back in, they are softened up, one of them is destroyed, and the huge force of units is gonna swoop on in, forcing out a GG. It's the first time he types GG in the set, but it might not be the last. Neblime on match point. Qualification to the grand finals on the line from hereafter. Listen, man, that drop had a lot of power associated with it, and I think it was right of Shambler to attempt to prevent the Stargate snipes that happened previously when Neblime fought against Hamster, but it does give you a lot more room to drop in and maybe get massive damage elsewhere. The redundancy pylon was great, just wasn't enough. And now, for Shambler's sake, I am concerned. I am worried. It looks like he might not be worried, though. He has selected the shortest and most rush-prone, aggro-prone, drop-prone map in the pool. Fata Morgana, a map by Week7, has been selected as the third map of our upper final. Neblime will take a moment to trying another mouse. I don't know how many mice this guy has in his cabinet, but apparently he can plug all of them in. So we will wait for him to join the lobby. Shambler already cooped up in here. Yeah, Neblime leading the series 2-0. This could be a clean sweep over one of his long-time opponents in the Shambler. They have different races than the last time they met in tournament play, but Shambler is no slouch on Protoss. He's just, he had a really nice lead in game one, and it started to falter when Neblime didn't get run over entirely, and then reclaimed the advantage by taking a bunch of hidden bases. Then we go to game two, and the deciding moment for that, for me, was when Shambler responded to the drops by tasking his air units on the transports that were empty, and kind of like not microing them that much so that they didn't get the best DPS onto them. Meanwhile, his ground army moves in to answer the drop that's already been left over in the main base, and the rest of the reinforcements from Neblime, who, by the way, again, has like 20 or 25 less workers than the Shambler, so economically speaking, that was a tough play to be in. The rest of the reinforcements just wipe out the Shambler's third base. There was a two-base Zerg sort of all-in strat from Neblime, where I say all-in with an asterisk. It could have been played out of, but it would have largely depended on how much damage he had done. I don't even know if Neblime expected to win the game there. I feel like he probably expected that the forces of Shambler would... he's trying to divide and conquer, and then he'll take out the third. And then maybe we'll be on even keel again, and then you can play out from there. But Shambler... not able to respond the right way at the right time to that drop. And I agree with Helltrix in the YouTube chat. Only Mame Street can save him now. Well, that's not exactly where we're going, but hey, Mame Street is a classic. I am hoping that Shambler can get on the board, and I am hoping that he can even make it close, that we can go to a 5-game set here. But I wonder what he's planning. Like, is he going to change it up, or is he going to stick to the same game plan that got him the advantage in map 1, and just try to fix the execution mistake in map 2? Waiting for Shambler's R as we are just about to get into map number 3. It would be fitting for the Shambler to strike back here and now. It's Fata Morgana, a desert map by Veek7, and it's quite an interesting one for the kind of playstyles we're seeing out of Shambler, who likes his Gladius Protoss, or Neblime, who likes his drops. We're getting into it, boys. We are about to get started. This, again, could be our final map of the upper final. But what I know is that it'll be an excellent experience here. Neblime in the top left and the Shambler in the top right. There's a little bit of banter in the lobby where Shambler said that win or lose, it's all just practice for the grand finals. And then Neblime was asking, does that count for me too? Apparently, to Shambler, it does. Welcome those who are new to Cosmonarchy. You are seeing two of the most experienced players we have in terms of length playing competitively in this environment, this brave new world, this new game built within the Starcraft engine. And let me tell you, there's some really cool stuff that happens here. We'll see if Shambler and Neblime can treat us to such, or if this will be a little bit more of an unceremonious exit to the lower bracket for our Protoss competitor. It's interesting because I think it's something different when Shambler is out here and he's playing Zerg a lot, and then he's like, maybe I'll switch to Terran, and then he plays Terran a lot, and he's like, no, I'm actually going to switch to Protoss, and he plays Protoss a lot. And Neblime's out here like, oh, I won the last event as Terran. I'm your reigning champion. I'm going to go back to the grand finals through the upper bracket, just like I did last time, but it'll be with a different race. It'll be with Zerg. And he's not sure if he wants to go back to Terran or he wants to play Protoss, for the next tournament. Man, it's nice to know that some of the more experienced and winningest players that you can get in the game so far are players that like to play multiple races. That's really cool. Shambler attempting some worker harassment. In the second map, he did get a worker kill versus his opponent. Not able to block the pool there, though. A little bit unfortunate for him. Couldn't stymie that. Not that it would have mattered too much, but been mildly irritating. Keep that guy selected so we can keep track of what he's up to. Can hold Alt to see the damage taken and the damage dealt as well. So he's doing his best. He's doing his best, but he's narrowly close to death. Needs to get some of that flash shielding. Oh no, he's trapped. Oh, but Neblime decides to let him off with a warning. Like, hey, buddy, you can have one on me. I paused earlier, so that's my trade for you. All right, Neblime thinking about slinking away with his burrowed worker, a classic move. In Cosmonarchy, you get all of the researches and all that stuff, all the upgrades. They've all been integrated into the unit from the word go. So if you want power spikes, you build some other units. There's 50 per race. You've got plenty to choose from. And you can do that through synergies, or you can do that through just like getting units that are a different flavor, but still do a similar combat role, stuff like that, right? Now, we do have a very, very interesting setup over here. If Neblime is going to play this game out in a long situation, I feel like this could actually really hurt him, because this is worker tight. Maybe not Zeth tight, but it's worker tight. And then this is really hard to move around. So if he makes big ground armies by putting a bunch of hatches in here, he's probably going to want to destroy this circuit. But the Zealots are going to charge up no matter what. They will get pretty heavily bruised there. Losing over half the HP on one of them is no bueno. Zeth just moving around to see if there's any proxy shenanigans. Something we have seen on this map before, although not from Shambler. Avaleth moving forward just to deliberately show that he's moving across the map, but he does not get a reaction. Or does he? Because Shambler's already falling back with this one Zealot that was otherwise moving across the map, and his 5 are just going to stay over here and continue to pressure. Once again, the Hydrith Den being the choice of Neblime. He's deliberately ceding some of the pacing of the early game because he doesn't want to risk being run over by the Zealots. No Dracodons coming just yet from Shambler, though. Instead, he's banking all of his Vespene. So I would love to see if he's just going to, go for the Stargate opener again, or what is he going to do? Right? He's got this gas. He can't ward this Avalith out off without building something that costs Vespene. So I think he's waiting for a Stargate money. I'm not 100% sure. He'll go after the Expo and have the Expo timing, thanks to his ability to contain his opponent. But Neblime is not a stranger to this position. Now the Ovolith moving down there. The worker will leave the premises, having established what he's doing. Okay, it's an embassy follow-up. So maybe what Shambler wants to do is do the normal gateway pressure, as he has, force the contain, force a defensive situation here. And Neblime is going to go ahead and take his one-base Hydra opener, like he normally does. But the embassy build after means that there's a lot of workers available for Shambler. He can build a lot of workers. So maybe that's what Shambler wants to do. Go up to a fast 3-base timing, maybe use artisans instead of workers. I mean, the regular workers, I'm just speculating here, to harvest gas from a distant, lands unknown. But as the Hydras come out, they're going to be more than enough to deal with these Zealots. They need to tuck tail and fall on back. It's going to be a mass of Legionnaires and Zealots back at home waiting for the inevitable push. A pylon on the low ground, coming a little bit late, mind you. I think maybe Shambler wanted to have a couple of Wardens being started already. But even though this is a lot of Zerg units, I'm actually not so convinced that Shambler's in a lot of trouble. I like the push back out. It kind of forces Neblime to ball up a little bit. Maybe he can even try to control the bridges here. He's setting up for a bit of a surround, but his units need to actually stay alive long enough, and I'm not so sure that they can. Sort of attacking on multiple fronts, but this prong has already fallen back, and so it looks like maybe Neblime could end up choking out the military nice and early. Getting a big advantage. The one scribe over here getting tickled by the one Zeth. There are no wardens coming online over here, and the Zealots are now starting to get shellacked, even though they carved through a couple of these. It's all been Zealots, but we do have a couple of Drakons out now. The only question is it going to be enough? I mean, there's not that many Hydras with this attack force. Some of them are on the other side, and they will end up being isolated. So actually, playing towards the bridges here has been pretty good for Shambler, who's they've decided to both exit at the same time. Diving on top of the Drakons, one of them should go down at the end, but no, the Zealot's actually taking the aggro. Shambler has the opportunity to use flash shielding to his advantage, a couple of Drakons popping on out, but Neblime turning the screws with a large number of Hydras coming on out here. We've got 10 of them. The workers trying to make it out as a bit of an evac, but the rally points have not been corrected. That's a free Drakon offered up. Shambler is in a deadly amount of trouble. This is the fastest map in the pool, the shortest rush distance, and now we've got no power to the gateways. The Hydra push, I think it's done it here. Shambler, he is no longer in contention for the grand finals. There is no way he can do anything. But he can type. GG. And that will mean that after a deadly Zerg rush, see you in grand finals, he says, Shambler is cast down to that lower bracket. And he will await the winner of our third elimination match, which will be played sometime later. Well, a nice clean sweep for Neblime. And that is rough for Shambleman. He will be pushed out. And that means he will... we have to wait for the rest of the matches to be played, and then another match to be played on top of that in order to see who faces the Shambler. But if I had to predict... Well, let's just say we've got some interesting options here. Remember that we've got 2 more matches coming at you following the conclusion of the upper final. We know that Neblime has been victorious. And as I fill in the bracket here with the scores involved, I really liked how it went in the first map. I feel like if Shambler was aware of Neblime's strategy, he could have definitely exerted the map control that otherwise he had pretty much in spades. But he just didn't know it was happening. And so Neblime makes it in to the grand finals. This is so many consecutive tournaments now. I want to say it's like 4 consecutive tournaments he's made it into the grand finals. But 2 of them in the grand... Or no, I guess that's... I'm actually missing the 2 hamster moves, so never mind. Forget what I said. This is his 4th grand finals, but not consecutive. His 2nd consecutive one. And I am excited to see if he can take it all again. Just as a reminder, he did win the last tournament as Terran. It was a 7-game best of 7. It was all 7 matches through versus a very, very aggressive Zerg player. But Hamster could not make it happen. And now, Hamster is playing as Protoss, and he will be duking it out against Art of Turtle to close out our broadcast. But in between then and now, we've got another set, Hupsaiya versus Newt, coming up very, very soon. So let's take a look at that upper bracket, shall we? We can obviously enjoy the fact that we do indeed know who won the upper final. That puts us in a position where Neblime is going to be, at least in contention, for winning. And, you know, when you manage to dismantle the opposition in a 3-0, you always look pretty good. Shambler did that earlier in the set. He 3-0'd Hupsaiya. But there's more to these players than meets the eye. There's always the time to study up and do better later on. And, of course, the other thing to mention is that this match was casted live, whereas the other ones were played and then casted from replays later. So maybe there's a little bit of nerves that go into it, and maybe that's something that Neblime does better than Shambler, or, you know, maybe it was just all the silly pausing at the start. Who knows what the situation really is. But that does mean that we have the losers final filled out partially, where we know that the Shambler will have the higher seed going into that lower final. And we've got a couple of matches to play before we get to that one, but I will show you the bracket nonetheless. As you can see, Elimination 2A and 2B are up next. Hupsaiya versus Newt, Protoss versus Terran, and Hamster versus Art of Turtle, Protoss versus Zerg. Yes, indeed. We've got all the people, all the time. I'm telling you, man, Cosmonarchy is going to be sweeping through the interwebs, getting to all of the different Brood War players out there. I'm telling you, man. It's a cool place to be. Let's take a moment to talk to our players, though. Get a feel for what they're thinking about. I'll bring in the Shambler when he is ready. Greetings, sir. You have unfortunately been defeated in the upper final, but as you did mention, you mentioned that you know, it was all practice for the grand final. You still have confidence you'll make it there through the lower bracket?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it.
Okay. Can you talk to me about how it went on the first match? Because you had a really interesting approach where you decided to go after the Zealot push, which I have never seen before versus Zerg, so it must have been something you were cooking up elsewhere. I know you practiced against Crank earlier today, I believe, so it must have been a little bit of stuff there. Can you tell me about that build, and did you get the advantage that you wanted to get?
No, I needed to kill at least 3 workers to have a decisive advantage, and it didn't even occur to me that he was going for the gas, so that was cut from the start. I completely forgot that that's an option on that map.
Yeah, right. Well, of course, we can talk about the pausing as well with the mouse troubles. Multiple times in one game is rough. Nonetheless, I think the gas thing facilitated the comeback, because then he had plenty of Vespene to go for the skiths, and then even was able to go for tier 2, although it didn't factor into the game at the end. That's something that I was curious about. So you weren't aware that was a strat, or it slipped your mind in the moment that was a strategy that maybe he would employ, because to your credit, I don't think he's actually done that on a tournament match so far. So if he has practiced that sort of thing, which I believe he has, it would be something that you wouldn't necessarily be aware of, right?
Yeah, he came. I was playing the Neblime that goes quasi the whole time. That's it.
Okay.
I can talk about strats all day, about how, you know, he did, about how, you know, I could have countered it with this or that or the other, how I didn't expect it. But at the end of the day, he figured out what I've always been thinking for a very long time when I was a Zerg player, is that quasis are not it. And he went Hydra, and I haven't been practicing against Hydra. I've been practicing against quasi Zerg, and that's what it came down to. And I didn't break out of the mold. He got me.
Okay. Well, there was definitely some decisive play out of map 3, so maybe that's the perhaps one of the least interesting ones to look at, because it was so quick. But on map 2, there was a particular moment where you had the opportunity to respond to the drop. What was going through your head when he rolled in with the sort of death drop? Because from my perspective, it looked like you moved your Stargates on the low ground by your natural, specifically to avoid what happened versus Hamster on Axiom, where Hamster's Stargates got shut down in Neblime's previous set, and that was due to that drop. Were you deliberately avoiding that? Were you trying to just... What was the thought process behind the Stargate placement, and how did you feel about when the drop was happening? What were you thinking?
It was anti-drop, but not for the reason that you think. It was anti-drop because I didn't want him to bounce to my main and then with an overlith, and then be able to bounce back to my nat safely. And yeah, that's how it was.
Okay. And when the drop was hitting, you had your Gladiuses go after his Ovoliths. Was that intentional, or was that something like sort of a move they got picked up on? Because it looked like you ignored the attack into the main, except you moved your ground units there, and then your third starts to get attacked. What was going on there?
That was on purpose. I thought that he had committed the majority of his army, but I didn't realize I was up double his workers.
Yeah, almost.
Which is actually very dangerous versus Zerg, because it leads you into a false sense of security and the Zerg just fucking makes a billion units faster than you can. So, as a Zerg player, I should have saw that coming.
Well, it's also one of those rough things too, where you've got this decided macro advantage. You're actually on a base up on him, and you've got the a little bit of production advantage because you've got the Stargates, which are producing more powerful units. But he's just like tunnel visioned on the fight at that point, right? He's going to try to use it, so he needs to get like crippling damage in order to even make it even. But that doesn't necessarily mean he can't do that, right? Because of, again, like you mentioned, the Zerg army. So that kind of took you by surprise, maybe.
Yeah, he was playing my Zerg from the Hydra days. Keep up the casualties. Doesn't matter if you're really behind, as long as you're bleeding them dry, and then you get a decisive army advantage. And because you're Zerg, you can just make that decisive army advantage an insurmountable army advantage.
Or you can pivot to workers afterwards if it's like stabilized or whatever, right? And then maybe catch back up in the economic game. Yeah,
and that was how it went. I didn't recognize my old cues, and that's it.
Well, like you said, practice for the grand finals, and you're confident in making it over there. You only need to win a single best of 5 to make it. Your opponent is not yet known. Not only do we need to play out the next matches that we're about to cast, but we also have to play out that all-important Elimination 3 match, where that'll be the winner of these 2 elimination matches. The closing question I have for you is, we know that the 2 top players who are still in contention right now are Hupsaiya and Hamster. You've already faced Hupsaiya earlier in the tournament. Do you have a particular player that you want to face, like considering all 4 that are still in contention?
I'm not gonna. Oh, well, I can't comment on Hupsaiya stuff because I watched his stream where he played them. So.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of who was the other one? Art of Turtle and Newt.
Art of Turtle and Hamster.
Hamster. I hope I play Art of Turtle for the practice. Like the part of me that says, "Oh, we got this," is Art of Turtle. But if Art of Turtle overcomes Hamster, that will represent a major growth in his play that may perhaps be much more threatening.
Oh, okay.
I think I could take Hamster very handily. Because I've gotten his builds down. I understand PvP now very well. Especially with the Autistic Hup games I've been playing.
One of which was casted just today. So.
Yeah, there's another one in there, by the way, that's even more autistic.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and verify the replay. So
okay.
You can,
yeah. Please do.
It's pretty good. But between Hamster and Art of Turtle, the part of me that wants to just say I'll crush him, definitely Hamster, because he's the softer opponent. If Art of Turtle grows,
right.
Art of Turtle gets smashed, then obviously I would have actually preferred, but you can't have one and you can't have them both.
Sure,
it's a paradox.
Yeah.
So, but part of me that wants to practice for the grand finals, wants as much Zerg practice as I can get, and maybe what I need to do for that is to have a solid, evolved Zerg, who's maybe taking a few pointers out of Neblime's book, and to smash myself against and overcome.
Right.
Because I still think I could take them. It's just me and Neblime. Wish I could play these now, honestly.
Right? Just instant rematch. Well, I will say that so the first couple matches in particular, there was a lot of back and forth there. Like even despite the pausing, the Derelict game was like really like interesting to watch, sort of oscillate back and forth. So if you make it back to the grand finals like you're predicting, it's going to be a banger series, and probably, I would imagine, like you're mentioning, a lot closer than this one ended up being in terms of the score line. But even in terms of the games, I thought you two were a pretty nice match for each other playstyle-wise. So if you make it there, I certainly won't be disappointed, and I look forward to your next match, man.
Yeah, I'll see you in the grand finals.
There it is. GG's.
GG.
And I suppose we can bring in Neblime himself. Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, hello.
How's it going, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good. As you can guess, my day's been all right so far.
That's right. That's right. So, curiously enough, you are, it must have gone about as well as you can expect despite your mouse falling to pieces in your hands. Can we talk about that first? What happened with your mouse, dude? What was going
on? Like a panel on the left side just fell off, like where your thumb sort of sits. It just fucking fell off. And first I tried to tape it, but the tape was not it, man. So I went to this drawer where I have 4 of a mice, but each of them I don't use for a reason, So the first one I got, it has these stupid sort of grip pads on the front that were too grippy, so I couldn't really move it around the right way. And it's not like I couldn't get used to it over time, but when you're just using the regular mouse and trying to go to that in the middle of a match, it's not good, right?
Yeah.
Then the next one I got was this really little one, which felt okay at first, but then I played around with it a bit. I'm like, oh, this is not it either, because it was too small. So I literally just went back to the original one in the end.
Oh, okay.
And I played without the side panel, so I'm still using it right now. It's a bit dodgy, but it's workable, I guess, as you saw.
Yeah. Well, listen, one of the things that I thought was a little bit dark was when you were coming into the lobby, and people didn't see this part, but you were like, all right, I won't pause for the mouse again. And then you beat him in 7 minutes, and it's because I just finished the 3-0. That's why I'm not pausing anymore. I thought that was whoa, man, what the hell? Can't just say that. But look, were you expecting it? I mean, you said it. You called it as a 3-1, and you said that you were going to win.
You had
right?
some lag.
Oh,
can you start that again?
Yeah, you called it as a 3-1 earlier, way back in last weekend. So you weren't expecting it to be like this with a 3-0, but I kind of feel like maybe I'm interested in from what your POV is. I feel like that first game was really tough, and the second game was it had more play in it, but some critical things went wrong for Shambler in the during your drop. What's your recommendation or what's your overall feeling? Do you think this was an easy set, or how are you feeling about it?
I do agree about the first game. Obviously those first 4 Zephs, I sent trying to be a bit greedy to try and snipe the pylon or something, right? But if I kept them home, it would have been much better because they could block the run by, and that whole situation doesn't get started. So that was a bit rough. But look, going into this game, I knew that every time Shambler was going to try and be running Zealots up the ramp, because that's what we'd done when I don't know if you call it practice when we played before. We played a while ago, fairly long before this match, but that's what he was sort of doing. So I was pretty sure he was going to try it.
Oh, interesting.
And my main philosophy here was just not to try and expand, as you probably noticed, because I realized against Hamster as well, it's really tough to hold against Draconids and sometimes Zealots and stuff, whereas you don't actually need that expansion so fast. I think I probably said this in the interview after Hamster already. You just kind of need to get your draw lift count up, get the production up, and you don't really mind if your opponent's a bit ahead. We saw in the second game he was very ahead in the expansion. But yeah, I think game 1, yes, it was tough, but at the point where he flew his Gladius into my main and he was wasting time attacking that Hatrosk, that was the moment where I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to win. Because it just felt to me like he didn't know the tactical situation he was in, where I'm just trying to mass up these skiffs and surprise him. I feel like if he watched the Hamster game and sort of took away from that, oh, Neblime's definitely going to go skiffs, and he was sort of ready for that and started making land effects or whatever, I'd be in trouble. But the way he moved his Gladius, I thought to myself oh, he doesn't expect it still. So after that, it was just trading, right? And like I said, after Hamster, you just repeatedly trade. And if you reset the Gladius count, usually you can pull the win. And you put up the Gladius Hydra Force, and the Protoss Ground Army cannot fight that. They just suck. So the Gladius still is relying on. And he had some nice techniques I think Hamster did not bring in. Definitely trying to play around the engrams was very good, and that made it a lot harder for me. And he was a lot better at, I think, at microing the Gladius back and not letting him get the kills. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think he was just not prepared for me to do the same thing, basically. But also, of course, the corner bases. That's why I picked that map.
I knew it, yeah.
The whole time with that map, my plan was, okay, I'm just going to get up to my 2 bases, put the corner bases, and just start spamming stuff at him, because I know I'll have that bit of an advantage. And I wasn't sure if he was aware of it or not, but I guess it turns out he wasn't.
Yeah, he had no idea that was, or he had slipped his mind. He said that was a.
Well, it doesn't come up often, right?
Yeah.
Zerg is the only one who can really use it that fast.
Yes. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, you can technically go if you're going drops anyway. I guess you can do it, but not often that's going to be the situation as Terran or indeed as Protoss. So interesting adaptation there for sure. It's something you got to watch out for. I feel like all the races have cute, cheeky stuff like that. Like the Terran can just lift off, obviously, and then the Protoss has the artisans. And so I think people are just going to have to start scouting random stuff on the map a little bit more. As a result
I do like the map feature.
Yeah.
It's like sending island maps. The thing is, it would not be super hard for Protoss should just send like a Dracodon or something, and I would not be able to mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of like the scouting, keeping an eye on things, and this is a bit of a difficulty actually for Protoss here, because if you're going to go gateways, which I think is probably the best opener, you don't have very good cheap spam units. I mean, Legionnaires okay, but if you're making Legionnaires, you tend to just want to like have a really high number of them, keep them together, right? So it's a lot easier for Zerg to just run Zephs around the map.
Actually, funnily enough, on Axiom, he was making Legionnaires specifically just to run them across the map to scout and spot for stuff. So, it can work, but I agree with you that it is harder for Protoss, as they are the race that has, like, the lowest number of units usually, right?
Yes. And this is why I like playing Zerg, because you can, be very reactive and be everywhere. So, I mean, were we talking about the other games? Did you still want to know?
Yeah. Was there anything else that sort of stuck out to you in the set? Because I thought it was weird that he chased your Ovoleths with his Gladiuses, and I thought for sure that must have been a mistake. But Shambler was actually thinking that that was intentional. Like he wanted to do that. So I assume you must have been happy to see the Gladiuses following your Ovies and not attacking the army in the main, because then you were able to keep them alive for a very long time.
Well, you probably noticed, by the way, that I was doing the exact same strat I did versus Hamster on that map. Because I think the map is very conducive to that sort of Doom drop playstyle. But I wasn't thinking I should probably do the same thing. I thought, I should probably not be predictable. But I saw how much faster his expansion was than mine, and I thought, well, okay, I'm a bit behind, but I know this means he can't be investing into the Gladius count super fast. And assuming he was going to go Gladius again, the main thing that worries you when you're doing that is what tech is Protoss going to get. Because like I said, the Protoss Grand Army is just trash. If you're just making Hydras off 2 bases fully saturated, Protoss will not survive unless they have something higher tech or like a lot of stack defense or something. So I thought I probably have an in, but then I thought when I was attacking his third, I thought, oh my god, the Gladius are already here. I'm screwed. What am I going to do? And pull back and load it up. It was sort of like a Hail Mary, I have to say. I think I was quite close to losing. If that hadn't done a lot of damage. But I think chasing the overleft was actually a fine move. I think if Shambler just pulled back to the main and Nat, like has some kind of static defense in the Nat, and just builds up the Gladius count, I think he wins there. Because I don't have any tier 2. I didn't take a third base yet. Like I can keep making Hydras. Hydras are okay, but at some point he'll have enough Gladius where he can come out and take the third, and he'll just have a really good composition versus me.
I do wonder how long it's going to be before somebody like Ecalypso, who has already done this versus Zerg, mind you, on back on, I think it was on pre-release recently. He went for like mass Exemplar into the Hydras and just destroyed them entirely. So I feel like there's another option there that like people aren't really figuring out.
But as you've seen, the Skiff are a good option. And the thing is, NAFs are pretty good. They do damage. It's just that they're so squishy. But if it's Exemplar, I mean, Dracodons don't have Splash. Yeah, they'll kill them fast enough. But say you have like 15 NAFs, you will destroy those Exemplars.
Yeah, you just start filtering in some land effects, It's possible.
Don't get me wrong, I think Exemplars are very good, but Gladius just outdoes them here. I don't know if I mentioned, by the way, what I was saying there about the overlefts is the thing is, if he does pull back like that, if I have 5 overlefts, I can still win, because I can drop Hydras in wherever I need them. But if he chased those, killed them all, and then he goes and turtles up, I think it's a really good situation for him. So I don't think it was a mistake per se.
Well, it's just that he didn't ever clear the main drop, and then he also had moved his ground army to that, which allowed your follow-up army to kill his third. So, it's kind of
what? Let's say it was the wrong move for the right reasons, I think, because they are definitely a very important target.
Yeah, sure. No, if he wiped the ball, that would have been one thing, but because of the Gladius passive, you kind of need to lead, like do moving shots with them and then lead, and he didn't have the APM to spare to do that because he was busy trying to get everything else under fire, and, figure out how to put out all those fires, right? So, interesting situation to be in, not something that you're going to be in all that often, but we love ourselves some Doom drops. And of course, it's Neblime, the Huracan drop man, to carry that strat over for the Zerg. So, you know what, man? That leaves us with 2 more matches to cast, and I figure you'll probably be joining me with that. What's the word on that?
Yeah, how much time we got? Because Shambler wants to play. Are you going to go right in?
I will do a break, but if, maybe 10 minutes max.
Honestly, on the long scale, I'd rather not take too long a break because I want to get this done then and go elsewhere. So yes, I'll try and get a quick match in for Shambler, I think.
All right, sounds good then. We will be back in somewhere around 8 minutes, and we will see you guys then. Until then, don't die. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Neblime is with me this time around, and we are setting our sights on our first elimination match of the day. It's Elimination 2A between Hupsaiya's Protoss and Newt's Terran. How you doing today, dude?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Like I said when you booked me in the interview, I'm having a good day so far.
That's right, that's right. Well,
now I got to size up who I think I'm going to face in the finals, right? So every match we cast, I'm like, who's it going to be?
yes, yeah. Like the Lord from the Throne, you know? You're just picking the subjects that you wish to do battle with in the arena.
No, more like I'm like watching the pretenders to the throne with worry in my eyes. You know, I'm scared of Newt, man. So
okay.
I'm hoping for a Hupsaiya sweep here.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Sorry, Newt.
Yeah, I mean, he is the last banner lord of the Terran, so it'll be real sad if he goes out. Because we got plenty of Protoss around. No shortage of those. And meanwhile, in the other elimination match a little bit later on, we've got Hamster taking on Art of Turtle. Those will be interesting games unto their own. And
I just realized this is like the way you put the bracket here. It's Protoss on one side, the other races on the other. You know.
Oh yes, well that's just because the higher seed is on the left and the lower seed is on the right.
And Protoss is always higher seed.
Protoss is always higher seed. Can you believe
balance?
It? Yeah. Nerf toss. Well, I will say that I'm interested to see what happens here because we could be booking ourselves another PvP mirror for the Elimination 3 match, and that would mean it's also a PvP mirror for the lower final. But at the very least, you have delivered us from a mirror matchup in the grand final, which actually, come to think of it, I don't think that's ever happened well, not ever, because there was a ZVZ, I think, once? Maybe? No, maybe not.
I was just about to say, you should be thanking me for saving you from a mirror. It could have been PvP if I went down, man. So, you know.
Yeah, you're right, though. I don't think we have had a single mirror matchup grand final in the whole tournament. So
now I guess I can let the cat out of the bag because no one will be sandbagging for any reason that I don't know if you noticed. But my decision was every time I advance, I'm going to donate. So I got one last donation to do, but that's it. The prize pool shall not grow anymore. I'm done.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. You did say that if you reach the finals, you send in another dono. Is that right? That's something you said to Shambler.
That's right. I'm basically low-key bribing my opponents, even though they don't get it. Still, they want the prize pool to grow, right?
Yeah. Of course. So the lion's share goes to first place. So. Which is probably good for you if you win, because otherwise you're going to be out a lot of money.
Exactly, right?
Meanwhile, Hamster has an opportunity to steal it all from me. Thanks, dude. I will say, though, as we get further into things, Hupsaiya's Protoss taking on Newt's Terran. Newt, you said you're worried about him. I think his versus Protoss has been the struggle bus, right? That's when he's kind of struggled the most. So if we switch over to talking about him specifically here as the underdog in the match, he is the kind of guy who, you know, he's made it past Taco Cake so far. He fell to you. Now he's thinking about, gearing up to fight. This match has already been played, but we're casting it from replays here. And he'll have been gearing up to fight Hupsaiya. So, this is not a slouch of a Protoss opposition. How are you feeling about Newt's play versus Protoss?
I still haven't seen it that much, I've only seen snippets here or there. There's some struggles there, but I mean, it's been a little while since I've seen him, so I believe he could have grown, he could have adapted, and hopefully learned from EUD, to be honest, because... we can't say much before they're in like a tournament, but EUD coming up, I expect is going to make it further than Newt the next one. No shade on Newt, but EUD is just very good. I believe he's an S-rank Brood War player, which probably helps.
Sure, yeah.
So I hope that Newt has watched some of those games and learned a thing or two, and is going to be able to bring it to Hupsaiya with that. Although, like I said, I kind of hope he didn't. I hope Hupsaiya goes through. Okay.
Well, so for the good of the show, we hope for good games, where Newt takes on Hupsaiya. But for your own sake, you're hoping that Hupsaiya goes through so you can just forget about practicing versus Terran altogether.
Exactly. We almost had the pure Protoss to worry about. I mean, I guess in a way I did because of the upper bracket. I had Protosses to get through, but yes. It would be easier for me for sure.
Well, that also sets my sights on a nice little storyline to remember for next time, because I'll be asking you about AOT's chances, as he's the last non-Protoss in the group, other than Newt, which we already covered, as you said. You're like, oh, I hope he goes out here so that I don't have to worry about him. I imagine it'll be the same thing for AOT a bit later on. But first, let's talk about Newt's...
ZVZ finals.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, go on.
There we go. Let's talk about Hupsaiya, though. This guy is he's an enigma to some people. You know what I mean? He's just the kind of person who... on the one hand, he's like, yeah, man, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's so fun, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll be like, raging in a stream about something almost immediately later. And it's, Shambler piece of shit, blah blah blah, and then on it goes.
Oh,
so
man.
he goes back.
Well,
and
we
forth,
got to talk about the Shambler saga, right?
Okay.
Like, are we going to save that for if they have a rematch? Or are we going to talk about it now? I mean, Hupsaiya might get eliminated, right? So
Okay, sure.
it came out. Yeah, it came out that, as you know, Shambler had watched Hupsaiya's stream,
Yes,
and very precisely prepared for what Hupsaiya was going to do, and it did bring him a victory. And Hupsaiya was not too pleased about that. There was a bit of back and forth in the Discord for sure. So I like the sort of rivalry, if you will, and I hope they meet again as well. So yeah, definitely Hupsaiya has had some objections. I'll say that.
Yes, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here, because I think Hupsaiya stands a good chance at taking the set. But I also think that it would be really unfortunate. Like, we've got two different players saying that they're going to make it to the grand finals. Hupsaiya and Shambler both now saying, yeah, it's going to be me to go to the grand finals. And, you're over here like, it might not be any of you. It might be Hamster. So, I don't know, dude. It's really funny to think about, how all those stories could write themselves. Because Hamster's the only one at this point, the only Protoss to not say that they should be in the grand finals. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that's Hamster for you, right?
Yeah.
That's typical Hamster. He'll say that right to the very end, but that's fine. We'll see what he can do here. Look, I do give Shambler pretty good chances, I have to say.
Okay.
I think I said this before when we were seeing if I was going to face him in the upper bracket. I think it was going to be him to face me, and I think the same again when he has to face the winners we see here today.
Okay.
But we have to decide today who's even going to face Shambler,
That's right. That's right. It's who's going to fight each other for the privilege of facing the Shambler. So we'll see. We'll see who makes it into the royal court. We're about to get started on Hupsaiya versus Newt. Are you ready, sir?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Let's do it. And here we are, Hupsaiya in the top right of Axiom. It'll be Newt in the bottom left. Neblime, you're a pick ban kind of guy. Do you notice anything interesting about the pick ban here?
I sure am. Look, before I talk about that, I want to say I love the metagame, so I'm kind of all for Shambler watching the stream and stuff like that. So you're right, I am that kind of guy that anything like happening outside of the game, I think is also very interesting and awesome. So yes.
Yes.
I will talk about the pick bans.
Okay.
Got to ban Titan Forge. Thank you, Hupsaiya. Good choice. What can I say? I say the same things every time, man. Newt banning Sideshow here, I think, is a good decision. It's quite hard for Terran to put the aggression on that map. A problem I definitely had when I was playing Terran in Ascension. So I support that choice. Hub banning Germination is interesting to me. Terran can take a pretty decent third base, but we saw General Anakin at least showing us that you can put some pretty good aggression, and Terran is going to have a hard time there as well. So I don't know if there was a specific reason Hupsaiya had behind that. I guess maybe we can ask him later. Maybe if he wins, we get the interview, we can ask him about that. So I have to see. And then you picking Axiom, which, what can you say? He picked Axiom, the best map. It's a pretty straightforward choice. But look at this. He's coming down with a forward Fulcrum.
That's right.
Now, this is something I did see EUD do, but he did too, and he put them sort of to the side, so I wasn't able to scout them. Again, but that's for Zerg, so what am I even saying? Who knows if it even matters?
Well, he's been doing this a lot in general in all matchups, and I feel like Newt might have been piped that info in as the sole Terran player left in the tournament. Definitely something where maybe the other Terrans are like, hey man, do it.
I wonder if EUD and Newt sort of discussed, for the good of Terran, what are they going to do? How's he going to get him to the finals? I don't know if they're that close.
Right. Could have been. Corey in the background here. So very standard macro push. And Hupsaiya has played against Newt's mech style a lot. And I will say, I'm pretty sure Hupsaiya has played against EUD's mech style a lot. And I don't know if EUD dropped a match when playing mech versus Hupsaiya. He did drop some playing bio, but a bit different style, right? So, well,
the conventional thinking is that bio is really hard against Protoss, right? I mean, we'll see if that gets borne out. Here comes the Vulture. The Vulture. Like I always keep saying, the best thing about opening Vulture is just denying the scouts. It's very good, and he can just run away from the Dragon. Always going in, though. We see Newt do this a lot, but I am not a fan. He always trades off that first Vulture when I think there's a lot of defensive utility. Now, look at this. He does get the mine down the Dragon. Honestly, that's kind of sloppy by Hupsaiya, because he laid it right in front of him. So I have to criticize that, but that means Newt is going to get some kills here. So I guess you got to give him credit for going for the aggression, thinking he can pull this off, and he is. Or target fire, can he get it?
Target fire was not there, only gets one. But here's another one, swooping on in, laying down that mine. Okay, listen, Hupsaiya's played against Widow mines 100 times. He knows how to put the workers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. this is like, you know, walk in the park for him.
He getting the stun off is pretty. That's a little rough for the full stun and slow for the eco harass, but. Look, you know how it is.
I don't care what Newt says. It's not worth a vulture to stun the 5 scribes.
I've never seen.
It's just not.
I've never seen one gas before, Neblime.
Whoa! Did he cancel something? How did he do that?
That's some hacks right there, dude. He's hacking.
Oh, he must have mined one from the ridge or something.
Yeah,
like he mined 26 and got a jacket and weird. Anyway, the earlier game aggression is over, and we see a pretty good worker lead. Like I said, I feel like it was still not really a good decision by Newt. It might be weird to say this when it worked out so well, but I feel like Hupsaiya was kind of not expecting it. Maybe that's why it's a good decision.
Yes, it's like, you know, you don't need to fear the second best swordsman as the best swordsman. Just the guy who's never picked up a sword before, and he's like, "What do I do with this vulture?" and just throws it into the wall. Oh, this is a
that jacket is so dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Goodbye. Well, very good use of vulture so far. Oh man, you don't want to come up here as Hupsaiya. That jacket is chunky enough to get hit by that mine. More kills going down. He's going to go for the aggression. I think he's going to pick these off.
Oh yeah.
It's a micro from Hupsaiya so far, but it's not enough.
No.
Oh my god.
Good attempts, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here.
Newt dominating this early game here, dude. He's putting a lot of hurt on. He is losing these, though. Didn't target fire the Dracoden, unfortunately. Probably could have kited the Legionnaire at least a little bit. So, unfortunately, his very good trade turned into just a good trade.
Indeed, indeed. Well, listen, I'm seeing this come out, and he's cheekily harvesting with one mineral worker in the treasury over here. Biddy B smiling upon us. We've got a second Fulcrum, and it's Goliath Vulture the whole way through. I can't believe it, but Newt only has the one combat unit right now. He's going to fix that with these Goliaths popping up. But there's a
he needs to
window of opportunity there.
Fulcrum out of there, right? Like, Dracons could just hit that. And you don't want units popping down there. Although maybe it's sort of a bait. I don't know.
Curious. Well, Nexus on the way. And Ministry just gets started on location here for Newt. So that could be risky.
No treasury, right? No quarry up? Oh, hang on. Here comes the attack, though. Oh, he has to be careful. This mine has to hit just right. Well, it helps, but I don't know if it helps enough. The Goliaths are tanky, but their DPS is poor. The Legionnaires have no armor pen, but they can chew up a bit of the damage. It looks like Newt will be okay here, but did lose some of his forces. And hey, this Ministry may get cancelled.
Oh, man, his Fulcrums were idle that whole time, and now he's going to see if he can make it down the ramp. Instantly putting down a mine. I guess it's good for the slow, but I don't know if that's going to be nearly enough, man. There's so many Legionnaires here. At least some workers are going to go down.
Nice micro by Newt, blocking those. And here's the thing, right? He can't really get in here and kill these Goliaths unless Newt just runs out there. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. I think Newt can survive. It's just that the Goliaths are too low DPS to really push this back. I would love to see him put them on the high ground corner there so he can shoot down at least. Now the mines are here. Ooh, nice split by Hupsaiya. Wow, that second mine did absolutely nothing. That's amazing. Never mind, Hupsaiya might get in here and actually get the kill.
Yeah, this is really heavy pressure. He's rebuilding the Ministry on the high ground here, but his other Fulcrum wasn't even doing anything because it was floating. And the Stockade not going to come out in time. I don't even think he can repair this Goliath enough. It's a little tight. I mean, he is getting more worker damage dealt. Hupsaiya, meanwhile, is building an embassy back at home. His macro not slipping. These Legionnaires staying alive for so long.
Nice repair, though. He does pull it off, but he did have to tread off a lot of workers, losing his advantage for sure, especially with that Nexus coming up, and an Embassy. Hupsaiya knows ahead. That's one thing I noticed about Hupsaiya, by the way. We might say he's not familiar with Brute Wars, so sometimes he might struggle with the pathing or stuff like that, but of course, he is a very skilled StarCraft 2 player, so his multitasking always on point. I'm sure he finds it very easy to keep macroing while doing this kind of thing, and always attending his units and that kind of thing, so that gives him a very strong advantage here. The Witness even coming up, so he's going to know exactly what Newt's up to. Now, Newt is going to be able to build up a pretty scary Goliath count here, and at a certain point, Legionnaires will not matter. I would love to see a Vestry, though. I think he had a Stockade, right?
Yes, that's right. He's going to go for the Vestry.
Great. Alright, pretty standard Newt style, right? He does like to get the Goliath Cleric before going up to tier 2. Now, he did remake the Ministry in base, so we get that down soon enough. And he does have a quarry, so you know what? He's not out of this yet. He's only just going to be slightly behind. But I do like Hupsaiya's moves here. When he was really at a terrible deficit from the early game, he's clawed his way back to a pretty good position here.
Anchor on the low ground. That'll be the choice here for Newt as he builds the scariest units in all of Cosmonarchy, the Cyclops.
Oh, it's over.
Well,
it's over for Newt. He's lost.
No, he's going to kill all of these Legionnaires in 3 Cyclops shells. It's going to be completely just an evisceration of Hupsaiya's forces. But that's all right. He knows. He's giving it a lot of respect here.
Now, does Hupsaiya go for Arden? Because that just seems to be his go-to for TVP, right? I haven't seen him do anything different, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of curious. He goes Arden a lot. He also, of course, likes his pushes out with the Optectons as well, using the Ancestral Archives. So
Yeah, pretty strong. Well, I think it was Hupsaiya who was saying in chat that like the Ancestral's the only good building for Protoss or something like that.
An extreme opinion, but it's very good. We can agree on that.
It is very good. I mean, I do want to see those Demiurges used more someday, because I think they are actually a bit underrated even.
Just as DPS units, right? Which is not really what their role was intended to be initially, but they have emerged as it. So, all right, the Cyclops need a jump straight into that anchor. And, you don't want to fight in a consolidated area on top of the same area where the Cyclopses are shelling, so that's where they're going to do their best work. Even thinning out the herd there with mostly the Goliaths suppressing fire, that's going to be over and shut with for the gateway push. So maybe Newt is stabilized here?
He did target the clerics, interestingly, by the way. Very deliberately got those clerics with those legionnaires. Which is an interesting choice. I don't know if it's quite worth it, because it's not like Newt doesn't have minerals, just make more. But he's trading the kind of getting useless units, the legionnaires are becoming less and less important, for the to-be useful units, I suppose.
Yeah, when there's enough of them, right? He wants to avoid that critical mass, because the Goliath count is growing, and the clerics can really multiply their power a lot.
Zealots here are actually pretty good, because the Goliaths, like I said, have poor DPS, so they will struggle against a big mass of Zealots with something to back it up behind. I'm sure it's going to be Architects here. I was going to say, the reason I was thinking about him going Ardent is because Cyclops are useless against Architects, and they can easily get splashed. But he's a Phalanx out. Okay, so this is what we've seen recently. This is sort of the recent meta, I guess, is the sort of Phalanx versus Architect, but it's not an Architect. He's going for an Acantor. I do think the Acantors are superior, but it's kind of harder to get it to work for you.
Yeah. If you have the micro and you have the rest of the setup with the Envoy, which is coming, then I think you can make great use out of Acantors. And they can also absolutely turn a game on its head as well. So right now, Hupsaiya making an attempted fighting retreat. One of those Drakken's going to get pocked, and that will indeed be Newt pushing out. Newt has that little feeling of like, hey, you can't turn and fight me thanks to the Cyclops AoE, and I can just keep on pushing after you. But you don't want to let your forces tread too far apart from now, right? You do need to consolidate, especially as reinforcements start to come on in. Architect behind that Acantor. The Envoy just finished. We'll see what...
Okay, it's just going to get the one Acantor. I think that's fine, because you don't want to try and micro too many of them, right? So I think that's a good choice. Interesting about the retreat, though, because I'm sure Hupsaiya could trade versus this. The question is, who does it benefit resetting the army? But he was waiting for the Acantor. Here it comes. The Goliath's going to do a good job warding off the Envoy. Did that not actually kill anything? Oh, man. Cyclops are actually OP, I guess.
Yes, the one armor, dude.
Yep. Somehow survives, but he won't survive the next shot. The Acantor getting in position. There's no third Nexus to hit, so I don't think you can really do anything here. He's trying to go after the Acantor. Oh, barely picks it up. Oh, but he gets the Envoy. Drops it just in time, but he does get it. I don't know if it's worth it, though, and Siege mode, not a good idea when Zealots are in your face. So, you got the Acantor, but he lost his entire army.
Yes, indeed. He also picks the Envoy, so that will stop any harassment from going down. The Witness spying in here doesn't yet see the Atlas that just got placed. And, I feel like that wasn't a terrible attack from Newt. The weird thing for it is that he fights the Acantor, and the Acantor just completely nullifies the Anseal, because all of the splash damage will like absorb, and you'll end up losing all of it, right? So he's taking his little hidden base in the bottom right. It's a bit cheeky. 12 o'clock already up and running here for Hupsaiya.
I like it. Yeah, these bases in Axiom, the corner base, is very good for that, because they only have like small ramps, and if you can fortify it once he has tier 2, chuck down like, I don't know, 8 sentinels, then you can kind of like, it's not even a hidden base, you can't even come in here. I'm sure you recall that game I had against Mystery Meat, Nightfall, where I just put like 10 sentinels in that one ramp, and Mystery Meat came up and is like, you know what, no, it just never went up that ramp the whole game.
Yes. So, hey, look, Hupsaiya's thinking the same thing as far as taking a 4th base location is concerned. And, in Brood War, right, like, you think about the Terran army being better at trading and, like, being more powerful on an individual basis, so the Protoss ends up, like, taking extra bases above them. It's not exactly the same dynamic that we see, especially with Hupsaiya going for extra tech options, right?
Mind Tyrants? Is that what he's thinking?
I don't know. It's interesting.
Has he seen the light? Or maybe the darkness? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. But the Atlas is done. Newt can start to scale up his tech. He's trying to push out. See what
he needs those Phalanx on high ground, right?
Yeah.
And I think Newt has not really been making use of high ground in this game. Oh, he does have some on high ground. Okay, never mind. That will be enough to hold this off, I think, for sure. Would love to see some Sentinels go down to secure this position. Especially knowing he has a secret 3rd base out there. I think you just, like, turtle up a little bit till you can really get that tier 2 comp. Captaincy's on the way, of course.
No way! Ooh. Oh my god, so Architects don't attack air anymore, right? And as a result, when it lifts off, the Architect just starts trying to aggro onto these Phalanxes. Nice detection to stop the Witness from being there as well. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's kind of a a null and void point. There's still a couple of lobotomy mines here that could go big.
Stun plus Phalanx is a very strong
Yes.
combination.
Yeah.
Now, I saw 2 starports at least. I assume he's going to go for Gorgons here to get the Architects. Ooh, hang on. Oh, he's going to run to the mine. Okay, luckily it only gets single dragon. Not really what he's looking for there.
Yeah.
I don't think Hupsaiya can do this, though. I'm not sure this is a good idea. Unsynced would have been good. Well, there's a lot of Zealots. They're getting their damage done.
Yeah.
But I see Hupsaiya's going to get through the front line. Is he really going to clear these Phalanxes on the high ground? He's going to try it. Well, what does Newt have? Can he actually get in here? Maybe with the Reinforcer Wave coming, he can actually bust this.
Yeah, this is really a knife's edge here for Newt. He's trying to heal up all of the phalanxes, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for it. No, indeed, charging on forward with the Zealots. And at this point, even the phalanxes coming out of the production line, he catches him in the right timing. The tier 2 wasn't activated yet. Hupsaiya taking the first game.
Like I was saying, would have loved to see some Sentinels. He could have definitely stayed alive. Just threw down like 4 Sentinels or so. I think that would have done it. So I think Newt really making a strategic mistake there where he knows he has a hidden base. So he just needs to survive and get that income to put to work. And taking up to tier 2 against Prostration Stage, I think Terran is really going to take advantage once they get their tier 2 online. So nice move by Hupsaiya, just, the spine-snapping moment. Also, before we start the next game, can you restart the stream? Because I don't have sound.
That is a lame thing.
Yeah. That's why I tried to rejoin at the start, but what can you do?
Does it just not?
You have to restart it. I tried rejoining, didn't work.
Interesting. Let's see if we can fix that. Because I don't have an option for it, so.
No. Like I said, I think it's just a matter of restarting it. Is your game music on? Maybe I still don't have it.
Yeah, it's on. Do you have Discord muted in your Windows settings or something? Or maybe the mute button in the bottom right?
Again, wouldn't I not be able to hear you?
Well, it plays through a different audio channel, I'm pretty sure. But also, there's a separate speaker icon for Discord streams that give you. You might have hit that at some point when watching somebody else's stream.
I see the 2 icons, but they're both at full, so I don't know. But that's all right. I don't have to have sound. You are doing a Windows share, not a screen share, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can change it to a screen share, and you can hear all of my audio.
Drag me back in.
Okay.
Let me chat.
Sure. Bear with us for our technical troubles as we get ready to cast game number 2. Neblime, are you here?
I'm here. But still no, but whatever. Let's just go ahead.
Let's just go ahead. All right. In that case, yeah, I wonder why it wouldn't be working.
I have no explanation.
Here, one thing I can try real quick is if I share my screen, which is going to be less ideal, and then I change... Also share system audio. Does it work now?
No. I think it's definitely my end.
Okay. In that case, I'll change Windows again to just Brood War.
Yeah. Oh my god, guys, he showed me the secret PNG back there. Oh, now I have it.
Oh, okay. Reasonable.
What? Okay. All right, we fixed it somehow.
Thanks, Discord. All right, we're getting into game number 2. It is Impetus. Of course, another space platform map. Newt trying to stay to home territory here, back against the wall. Let's get into it, boys. Got Hupsaiya in the bottom left, Newt in the top right.
So he wasn't able to take the game on his own pick. I mean, not to say it was super one-sided, right? Obviously, he was in it. But Hupsaiya just came in too strong. And, I think Newt needs to hone the sort of defensive instincts a bit more. Looking at that, I am pretty hopeful for Hupsaiya during the series. And honestly, going in, I would have given it to Hupsaiya. So I'm not surprised so far.
Yeah, I mean, that defensive instinct you were talking about, I think it was really nice of him to go for the hidden base. But definitely had a couple of... Like that push out early on. If he gets the Acantor and can fall back, then maybe that's a bit different. But losing the Phalanx and then still going for tier 2 with so few units, I think there's probably a little bit of a problem there. But
well, I don't think going for tier 2 was the mistake. I think you just need to recognize at that point that you're like super on your back foot and you just need to take a breath. Because I feel like in Cosmonarchy compared to Brood War, you don't worry as much when your opponent gets up a base, as long as you have some kind of compensation. Obviously, there is dynamics in Brood War where you don't worry sometimes, but in Cosmonarchy even more so. I think there's a lot of ways to play around it.
Well, how about this? We've got a lattice.
Yeah, man, it's garbage versus Terran. What do you want from me? I hate it. What are you gonna make? Tell me what unit you're gonna make. Maybe if you do some kind of sim all in, it's kind of good. But like, other than that, what are you gonna make?
What are
Double
we?
lattice?
Double lattice.
It's gonna be vassals for sure, right? I just don't think they're very good. Terran has options from any production structure that beat them. Especially the stockade will absolutely destroy them with Cyprians, let alone savants. But of course, he knows he's going for a fulcrum, so that is an advantage. He's going to be able to push back the vultures. Okay, never mind. It's Sims. Interesting. Now, this I don't hate so much, because I feel like if you go super aggressive, you come across with some kind of crazy attack, you can utilize the cloning and sometimes kill your opponent. So, I don't know.
This is wild, man. We have not seen Hupsaiya in a tournament match build Simulacra. Not as like the cornerstone anyway. Maybe he snuck 1 or 2 in when he was playing Lattice elsewhere, but not as like a predominant force, right? Well,
oh, he stays back. What does Newt know that we don't? I mean, he's going double star pad. I like double star pad. And that's been his weapon for sure.
Yes.
Newt's secret weapon coming out. It's like the dagger he keeps on his belt. It's like, Wraiths.
yes, yeah, no kidding. Goes from a swordsman who doesn't know how to use a vulture to a guy with an expert little repertoire. A single vassal to scout. He will actually see the star pads in construction then.
This is actually good for Hupsaiya, it turns out, because the idols, of course, are very good against the Wraiths. So maybe Hupsaiya actually anticipated this. I feel like Gateway's okay because you can just make Hierophants and you have time to get a lattice up, I think, and just get your own idols. Not that Wraith aren't good versus Protoss. I just feel like Protoss isn't so slow to respond that they're screwed because they opened the wrong thing or anything.
Yeah. Either way, well, there's a third lattice on the way, sir. So.
He's done with Gateway units, man. There are no Protoss left, only they robots.
Yep, that's right. The workers are robotic as well, after all.
I wonder if he should have made a Goliath here. It's not the Cyclops can't 1v1 a Vassal. It's just going to be easier to get the pick with a Goliath because of the longer range. Oh,
he's going to have to repair
he was
that.
Microing back, but he stopped.
Mm-hmm.
That was all bait for the Cyclops.
It was.
Which can't get the kill because it's a bad unit.
That's great. Beautiful.
It's terrible. The Goliath would have got that kill, 100%.
No, it wouldn't have. You would have lost the worker because the Goliath would have come out 20 minutes later.
Well, that's a Newt for not microing. All right, he's made a few vassals here, which he may regret. Now
he didn't scout the star pad, dude. That's actually the real sleeper here. He only attacks the worker, right? And he doesn't know that the star pads are here.
1-for-1 Wraith will beat them, but of course the vassals don't cost.
Maybe he did see it at the corner of his eye. I don't know. He's making idols now.
Is vassal view range like Zeph's view range? How short is it? It is pretty short,
it's
right?
It's like 3, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, I can see it here. It's not very long. He probably didn't see them, I think. In fact, that explains why he's continuing to make vassals. I don't think they're the best against Wraiths. Now, they're not terrible, but I just don't think they're that cost efficient. Now, he's going to come in here. The Wraiths might get intercepted. Looks like they fly past the enemy army. But idols will decimate them. They've got to be careful here.
Yeah, he only has 4 on the field right now, getting 2 more to head on out. And now their vassals are kind of... yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of an air rush, but the idols are already done, right? So
it's going to be very painful for Hupsaiya. See how many he loses. Idols here. He can take a few hits, so he doesn't need to be too careful. Just once the whole stack gets stuck in.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But hey, 3 kills. Ooh.
Now, can you find the Wraiths, right? That's the slippery part. So he's just going to pick that vassal. Rest of them coming on.
This is the problem, right? As long as the count is somewhat comparable, they will get picks. He needs to be careful, though. Newt really needs to be getting out of here, not trying to fight. And look
he needs to spread it out. Yeah, oh my god, dude. The way that you fight that is like when you're trying to split mutas from an irradiate or something. Similar vibe. Oh, kill your own vassal, why not? He's doing it intentionally. He's speeding himself up. My man's found the speed zone. Not quite going to go anywhere, but that was still pretty cool.
If he did that a little bit faster, he would have got them, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
Really good use of that. I mean, I think it was Newt's mistake to kill that other one that was over there. I mean, not that he knew the horde was nearby, I suppose. But yeah, I think that really played in a lot. Now, he's continuing to make Wraiths, and I don't think this is a mistake. I think that's still a good move. Once you have a bigger count, you really can, I think, just out-micro those vassals. And the thing is, they're never really going to be able to come over here and like fight these Goliaths and stuff, whereas the Wraiths absolutely will come and bully the Protoss in their base. Well, here we go. He's going to go for the attack. A bit ill-advised, but hey, he can run away really fast.
Yeah, this is where you need a Cyclops.
No. They'll just fly out of the way, dude. You need a Cyprian is what you need.
He's over there. He's standing watch.
Yeah, being useless like usual.
Nah, dude.
He's getting more stockades. Is he going to go for the... I was going to say covert ops help. What's that actually called?
Covenant.
The Covenant, thanks. He's not banking any gas, so I think we're just going to see like maybe even Mavericks, which are fine versus Vassals too. Look, man, Vassals just ain't that great. They're cheap. That's their virtue.
Yes.
You can spam them out.
A golem
But there's a lot of units that are just like, yeah, that can kill Vassal.
That's right, yeah. Well, we've got a couple Cyprians indeed, so it looks like that is going to be the answer.
Oh, interesting.
But a lot
Says
of
to me
gas.
he's going to come out for a ground push.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he does have the vultures and stuff. The idols are going to be a bit dangerous on the ground. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, Terran's army does look pretty gnarly. As long as the vassals just get obliterated by Cyprians or whatever, what does Purse really have? He's got like a few idols, a couple golems and sims. I mean, they don't do much.
All right, putting down a Warden on the natural here, holding it versus a potential ground push. The Wraiths just flying around on their patrol. Not that they're very far forward. 19 Vassals going to scoop on in. Maybe they can pop a star pad or something, but, you know.
Oh, well, if he moves out at the wrong time, yeah, look at that. They're going to get that kill. Ooh, that's pretty huge, actually.
Yep. Kind of forces you away from the Wraiths at that point. Maybe you just start making drops instead if you're going to make anything. Trying to force over here, but remember, it's basically hit scan versus laser.
Ooh.
It's brutal air dogfights happening over here. This is not a normal game of Cosmonarchy, man. This is really cool to see.
Everything's normal in Cosmonarchy. Newt does need to get a couple more turrets for coverage, I think. Not that there's so many vassals that it's like, oh my god, I need 6 turrets, I'm going to die. Just so that there aren't points where he can get picked off like that, right? And look, he's going to catch them up here. The Cyprian could do huge damage if the shields go down, although he's trying to micro away from it, or he gets quite a few.
Yep. Drop down to 13. A Baker's dozen. A Baker's, by the way.
What do you call like a roboticist dozen? I don't know.
Right, yeah. Machinist's dozen or something, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, mana.
All right.
Unit, which is definitely very powerful and always in the meta.
Yeah, that's right. You know, this is second only to the Cyclops, I would say.
Well, we'll see how they do. What armor pen do they have? I don't actually even know.
I think it's 2. Let me click.
Oh, okay.
1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't know, man. I think they're going to have a very tough time against Goliaths.
Yeah, they'll be dealing 8 damage a pop. It's not ideal, but hey, speeding up onto the force. Here come the golems as well, trying to do a little bit of splash damage, make the clerics unable to do all of that. And he can only barely thin the herd. The Wraiths have already bit the dust. The idols are going to close on in, and there's enough raw machine power going to go ahead and overwhelm that Goliath, despite the shamans. There's not enough bio here either. And that's what idols are really good versus as well. So Newt kind of playing into the composition's hands. I don't think he's seen this before.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for Newt there. He engaged where his Cyprians are too far back, not accounting for their really slow move speed. If he had all this stuff together, I think it would look a bit different, especially with the Vassals getting hit immediately instead of getting a lot of hits in. So yeah, Newt really on the back foot now. Can he even hold here? I don't see any mines in the right positions. They're just holding the main ramp, not the natural, and Hupsaiya knows blood is in the water. He is on his way to collect his win.
That's right. He's looking for it. You know, the timing is like within 5 seconds here. If there's another 5 seconds, we can get the anchors up and those Cyprians can scarper on in. The stim comes in. Oh, he's loaded clerics in. That's not the right target. They need to be out of the anchor, not inside of it. The Cyprians can't quite get to that one. It's being body blocked by the repairmen. They don't even make it indoors. Instead, the first anchor has fallen. No crowd control. No splash damage. The Palladium is done, but he didn't have it done in time. GG. Newt down to elimination point.
He doesn't need gateways, man. Vassals can do it. He did a lot of damage with those. And you know what? He got that expansion up so smoothly compared to Newt. I think, you know, had to fight a little bit more for it. But yeah, really, really big mistake there, not keeping your army together. Always important in Brugor and Cosmonarchy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Especially when you consider in the sort of like what kind of composition you're up against, where he is relying on a lot of small units. You need that splash damage. You need that crowd control. And those are the units that get left behind. That is not ideal. And something that wouldn't have happened if he had made Cyclops. We have Hupsaiya up 2
If he made Cyclops, he would have lost like 5 minutes faster.
Nah. Come on, versus that comp, that's actually really good for Cyclops. Hupsaiya, though, he's really good with the Robo, apparently. Has a bit of a new style. And maybe that's like, you know, when you're up against somebody who you've already taken a comfortable game against, maybe you do go for something like that, right? You're like, hey, I'll try this style. I've been practicing it. Clearly, there was some thought put into it. So Hupsaiya coming in with it. We'll see if he can make things happen. You called for a clean sweep. We're going to Derelict for game number 3. Predictions? Are you thinking that Hupsaiya is going to take it again?
I mean, I kind of like it for Protoss, to be honest.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what happens. Getting on into it. Hupsaiya in the bottom left and Newt in the top right. Facing elimination, man. Newt, back against the wall. What more you got for us, sir?
Let's see if he can pull it out now. Looking stronger in game 1, I have to say. So maybe, you know, he front-loaded his best plays. I hope that's not the case and you bring something here.
Yeah, that's right.
But look, I'm sorry if I'm wishing for Newt to be out, because like I said, I consider him a threat, so I'll have to carry the Terran Torch next time or something.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. Late GLHF from Hupsaiya, the classic strat. You're already dialed in. You're like, all right, no messages at all. Okay, and then 30 seconds. What the hell?
And you're like, wait a minute, why is that so late? Did he send a worker to proxy? What's going on?
Yeah. Somebody explained to me the strat where you use like 7 pool, and you 4 pool in Starcraft 1, and then you type like, wait, what's your name as the Zerglings go in. Start typing, and then they have to panic. Forward fulcrum though.
Classic is you pause and you like wait a few seconds and you say like PP or whatever.
Yeah.
And you wait just at the right moment you think they're typing something back and then you unpause. Like in the middle of a fight or whatever.
Well, I can tell that you've played against some characters on the ladder.
Yes, that's StarCraft 2 I'm thinking about, by the way, because you don't even have to go in the menu, but yes.
Yeah, right. Pause break. Well, let's see what happens, man.
It's okay. So, ladder's first fulcrum again. I do kind of like this outward fulcrum because, again, I should give Newt credit if he did come up with this, but I think it's EUD who came up with this just to get the vulture out a bit faster. Like, your opponent might not scout your main and figure out where it is. Although, I'm wondering what are the downsides, right? Would a proxy gate be better or worse against the fulcrum that's all the way out there? I don't actually know.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. We don't really see too many people going for proxies. Calypso has done proxy Stargate. Shambler has had proxy Stargate done to him recently in a cast that you can watch on this YouTube channel. And we also had, of course, a little bit of some shenanigans with Newt in the past where he has proxy stockaded versus Zerg, but we don't really see that many proxies. Surprisingly, there's a lot of standard play. Now, this is only one sim. Newt doesn't seem interested in attacking it, though. He's going to wait for the second vulture, which I guess makes sense.
The thing is, you would kill it, but then your vulture's really low and the second sim comes out and it's like, okay, well, goodbye. Although, chasing that was pretty ballsy.
Yeah, that was interesting.
How on earth did that possibly get the dupe off? Excuse me?
Dude, they're good units, I'm telling you.
It still just died.
They're like the Protoss Cyclops, dude. So he alternates out the wounded vulture heading on back to get repaired. He's going to have 2 vultures here, and we do have more sims, so one of them... Oh yeah, 2 of them. There's plenty here to hold. I don't think there's really any threat here from Newt.
Oh, you know what? I was wrong about the manifolds, wasn't I? They kicked ass.
Yeah.
Ooh, is he going to get another one?
Okay, he should switch his targets, though, so that he can... Oh, no, he doesn't want to split it. I see. He's outbrained me, although he could have microed a little bit, but, you know.
I mean, yeah, 1 vulture for 1 sim, I guess. I guess that's fine.
They are the same mineral costs, so... You know.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Terrible more workers here, though. Did he have a quarry up? He does indeed, so that's pretty advantageous here. Protoss does have a hard time setting up additional worker queues comparatively. Of course, they have the embassy, but I feel like very early on, it's not really a good idea to go for that.
Vassal fleet is going to start forming in a moment here. Oh no, you just fed him more sims! Oh my god, this could actually be really dangerous.
How much do they have?
15.
Oh, so it's just perfect to get you by vultures, really. No armor, right?
I think they have 1, yeah.
Oh, even better. So they only take what? 3 HP damage?
Yep.
I don't know, maths too hard for me.
No, that's
don't
right.
do maths on stream, guys. So, but the thing is, lobotomy lines can hard counter them. It looks like they will here. Always gotta be careful though. Oh, don't spread your attacks, okay? I think he accidentally hit 1 more. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Well, that doesn't count as an attack, luckily.
Yeah, it doesn't do any damage, right? So.
Oh, now he is against the ropes here a bit. Needs to get that fulcrum back in. Okay, he's finally lived.
He has no anti-air. I think Newt is in a lot of damage right now. A lot of danger right now.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Is it a Goliath coming? No, it's just another vulture coming.
Nope.
Yeah, how's he going to hold his ramp? Those sims just going to walk right on up. They don't care.
There's a lot of vultures present, but Masons are already starting to die. Mason, it's me, Vassal Man.
How long is that joke going to work, right? Like 10 years later?
Yeah, hopefully.
Trench is still the premier CMBW campaign.
Let's see, a couple of them are off to the side here, just adding more and more sims to the roster.
Oh,
no! They got to be focused down. There's no crowd control. The Goliath's halfway done. Not like this, my man. My last Terran in the whole tourney. And he's on the ropes to sim Vassal?
Yeah, I think this is over, dude. Because he just camps the production. There's nothing you can do. Goliaths will come out, but they aren't going to be enough.
Well, they're going to start feeding more sims to the army. Oh my god, the repair not coming in. They're just getting focused down.
The DPS, yeah. I think he can get it. Well, you know, maybe he can barely clean them. But again, there's no anti-air, right? These vassals are going to do so much damage. I think I see 2 stacked sims even in there. Actually, maybe not. But still, it doesn't matter. Oh, there's another one.
Oh my god.
Oh, dude. Wow. I guess they're a good unit, man. What can I say?
What do you expect? How do you even think about trying to deal with that? This is the strat that you pull when you expect your opponent to go forward fulcrum, I guess. Just nullify his aggression with the vultures and see what happens there. Newt's going to give it the try. He's down 10 workers. His one fulcrum is about to get blown to smithereens. And he's got Goliaths here, but he's adding more Sims to the fire. No, they were so low, so few of them. We got the Watchdog here. I guess he can try to repair that fulcrum. The Masons have actually been pulled to attack, and they're just adding more Sim splits to the fire. Yeah, it's all over, boys. 3-0 start here in the lower bracket, and I think Newt, he's just signed his death certificate, boys. He's out of it. Well, GG.
GG. That ends Newt's Acropolis debut.
For the Throneroom,
very good run from him, but unfortunately, Hupsaiya is going to yeet him out of this tournament.
My God.
3-0.
Yeah, that was...
He's hungry for blood, man.
That's a lot of 3-0s, dude. That's 2 3-0s in a row, just thinking about it.
True. Can we get 3? That'll be 3. Hupsaiya, fueled by his rage at Shambler, he's just like in his... like, I mean, no offense to Newt, but this is just like his training montage to prepare for the Shambler rematch, honestly.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, he's going to fill out the first player waiting. The winner of Hamster and Art of Turtle, which we're about to cast shortly after. Yeah, man, talk about Hupsaiya. He's clearly had the right idea, gunning after that 3-0 start. Not what I would have expected in terms of like the kind of game that was played here, but
yeah, really cool new strategy we're seeing, right? Because typically Protoss has relied almost entirely on Dracodons.
Right.
These are what we've seen, and sometimes you send some vassals to harass, but we haven't seen the core lattice composition with the vassals and the Sims on the ground. So I'm really pleased to see something new out of Hupsaiya. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so as we take a look real quick, not only at the man's mug, but also at that lower bracket, we can zoom on in to see that indeed Newt will be sent out of the tourney. However, he has qualified for the top 6, which if we do end up going for that 6-group battlement stage for Acropolis number 2, gets him an invite into that stage later on in maybe June or July or whenever we can kick that tournament off. So pretty exciting stuff to imagine that we could have, for one, a tournament with 6 groups because of our growing player base, and for another, a situation where Newt can get that invite and sort of be the shepherd of his own group in that respect. So it could be pretty good if if we're all still mates by then. I think it'll be a pretty good time.
All right, well, we have the other series coming up. Are we having a break, or are we going straight in?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do a bit of a break here. Ladies and gentlemen, we do indeed have the final series left. It's going to be Elimination 2B, Hamster versus Art of Turtle. More Protoss versus Zerg action coming at you as soon as this break concludes. We'll see you there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are gearing up for the third match of round 3 of Acropolis number 1's Throneroom stage. That's a lot of numbers, and most of them were 3, but I'm joined by Neblime. What's up, dude? How are you feeling about this match we're about to play? Hamster versus AOT, Art of Turtle. A foreigner, perhaps, a Brood War man is coming on in here. What do you reckon?
Yeah, interesting. Well, when they call it foreigners in Brood War, they're talking about anyone who's not Korean, but I guess, yeah.
No, yeah, if you're not native to this neck of the woods, you're a foreigner, and then you...
we have our sort of regulars, right? Hamster absolutely is one. Played me in the finals last tournament, of course.
Yes.
And he's still got a pretty good chance to go through here. I was able to knock him down early this time. Is he going to claw his way back? This is maybe the first stepping stone. He's going to be pushing AOT down into the mud so he can make it through. But I don't know, man. Does Hamster have that sort of ruthlessness? I don't think he does. I think AOT could just take him down with some vicious plays. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. If we zero in on Hamster's play, he emerges and he goes into the upper stuff and he completely dismantles Taco Cake. There was one competitive game on Impetus between them in the quarterfinals, but otherwise Hamster looked very comfortable. He goes up against you, and there were some nice plays in the first couple matches. He did take a very grindy match against you, but you won the series 3-1, right? It was fairly, convincing in that sense. There was obviously there was play in all of the matches. It wasn't like a stomp in any of them, but you were still clearly like the player who had the better shot of it, I would say, in terms of understanding what the meta was like and what the decisions would be. Now he's going to face another Zerg. I mean, this is potentially another opportunity for him to either say, no, this is going to be like the match I played against Taco, as otherwise he's going to have to start thinking, oh man, it's going to be like the match I played against Neblime, right? Like, so he's up against a tough competitor who has a lot of the macro stuff down, but maybe hasn't adapted to the strategies yet, right? Is like one way to put it. So.
Well, you have an interesting point there. I feel like Hamster is one of the few players who I'm not just confident in a long game against. A lot of players here, I think, well, okay, early game might be tough. I better do this or that. But if I get to like tier 2 on like 4 bases, I just think I'm going to win 100%. But Hamster, not the case. We have played so many games where I've gone to tier 3 even. And he's a threat at any point in the game. He definitely has the capacity to play the longer game macro. AOT, I don't know. In Brood War, he's very good, but I don't know if he's familiar with these long games. And the thing is, in Cosmonarchy, when you practice, 9 out of 10 games, he's probably going to end at tier 1, so it's hard to get that experience.
Yep.
If Hamster comes in and plays for like a sort of Turtley style, just a delay, I think he's going to be looking pretty good here.
Yeah, and if we set our sights on his opponent, Art of Turtle. Upstart Zerg, he really likes his Bactylisks. You can see this favorite unit there, but let's be real, man. How many times do you build those versus Protoss? And will he have a response to what has been sort of like the Protoss strategy versus the mass ground game that Zerg will sometimes go? Does he know about the skits? Has he studied that up? Are we even going to get there? Because does he have the right response to, say, the gateway aggression that you've specifically designed builds around? So these are all things that, Hamster will be... I think he'll find a softer opponent compared to the sort of exoskeleton you put between him and his normal strategies and, your base, right? Like you've come up with this sort of one base Hydra strat to respond to the gateway pressure. And that's something that Hamster didn't know about that much, but it's something that I don't know if our AOT is aware of. So that's the main thing, is he's a busy man. He works a full-time job all the time, travels all over the place for work, crazy guy, crazy lifestyle. He comes in here and he doesn't always have the best of experience. And despite that, he's still able to look pretty good in terms of the competition. So you got to tip your hat to that. But this is about, can you make it through? This is about, have you practiced enough? Do you have the right ideas? What are we going to see from you? And in that, as a result, I can reveal that our first map will be The Purgatory, a pick from Art of Turtle.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. You are about to watch the final match of the day. This will determine who faces Hupsaiya in elimination number 3 for the privilege of attempting to take down the Shambler in the lower final. Whoever wins that goes all the way to the grand final, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are about to get started. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Art of Turtle in the bottom right and Hamster in the top left. of the Purgatory, a map by Veek7.
Man, I was going to comment it during the Hupsaiya series, by the way, when you're doing the highlight video. It looks like Hupsaiya's avatar, is just like, oh, they're like, oh, yeah, I put some Empyreans there, what are you going to do? And then we have Hamsters. I feel like he's giving you that sort of deranged, distorted look.
I know.
As he's recalling your base.
I know.
Pretty intimidating.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary to be up against a Hamster sort of opponent. I mean, you just look at that feature, the visage, the countenance, and you think to yourself, what chance do I have versus deranged Joaquin Phoenix?
Well, AOT, again, I don't know if that's actually him or if that's someone else, but he has that guy who looks like plucky. He's like, rebelling. Interesting that Hamster went for the immediate scout here, by the way. And even a 9 gate. So he's obviously thinking either that Hamster's going to be doing like an early pull, or he's thinking of putting the pressure on himself. You can run a Legionnaire across. I think this is sort of a thing for Protoss that's kind of interesting. It doesn't actually make a difference whether you go 9 or 10 gate, because if you run a Legionnaire across immediately, you can kind of on average get 1 draw left if you micro well, in exchange for losing 1 scribe getting the gate faster. So I don't know. I kind of like just going 10 gate because then you're not forced to rush this Legionnaire across, but we'll see what Hamster has in mind here.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's definitely a decision that you got to make from the POV of the Protoss, and the pool will go down on schedule. Looks like it was a 10 pool, right? Like 8 or 9 hatch, 10 pool, something like that. So pretty standard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh,
I like AOT's build against like that. He's just going for a really fast Legionnaire, right?
Yeah.
As you can see, it's going to run across here, and the pool units are not going to be hatched, but like you can micro the draw left pretty well against it. Now, in release, the mineral drills aren't nerfed as much, are they? It's only a pre-release thing?
Yeah, basically there was a regression some time ago when we removed the order timer to make units more responsive. And this is crucial, the Legion are not moving across the map. So that will deny the worker kill. I mean, he'll kill the scout, but...
Well, that's value too, right? Yeah. That's the thing. You just make the decision either way. You are getting kill and denying that scouting is big. I don't think he saw the second gateway, did he?
Yeah, I think that came in after the worker already made it in. And certainly didn't see the embassy, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So, Hamster playing how he usually likes to play. He's just going to get a bunch of Dracodons here. Scribe up on 2 bases. I expect we'll see the next go down sooner or later. And we'll see what Hamster's plan is. A few Cos units coming out so far. I don't see him mining any gas.
Yeah, this is curious. He's not going to go for the Vespian after all. He just wants to sort of maybe look to get that expansion up. But he's flying blind right now. No Avaleth for scouting. No presence on the other side of the map. No Zeths even sending themselves across either. Nothing crazy happening just yet.
The thing is, AOT's going to get himself stuck in a far too defensive situation, though, because it's going to be hard to get a Circuit down on the natural before a bunch of Dracons come up. Now, this does depend on Hamster being aggressive enough.
Yes.
If Hamster sort of cuts production to save for a Nexus and just stays back, AOT will be okay here. But if Hamster gets in his face, I'm not sure what AOT can do. I guess the thing is, once you push the Dracons back to that area where you're at the screen right now, you can hold the ramp at least. But I feel like when Dracons are like coming into your natural, if you only have Quas units, you're having a bad time.
Yeah, it's curious, right? I mean, the Witness is going to come out to give more vision over to Hamster. The Dracodons are here to snipe out the Zeths, so no worries there.
Now, this game, of course, is cast from replay, so it was played before the games I played for Shambler just now, but AOT would have seen my games versus Hamster if he cared to before playing this, right? So I have an idea the kind of things can happen. And I don't know if these two have played much in practice games.
Yeah, I think they did do a little bit of practice before the series against that you played against Hamster, funnily enough. So they have a little bit of familiarity.
Well, here we go. That is quite a few Zeths. So surely he saw that. No?
No, apparently not. Allowing him to walk on in. There was a little bit of an ambush planned there from AOT. The stuff you can do with faster burrow, man.
Well, he didn't really make the most of it, honestly. He unburrowed a bit early.
Yeah.
And the thing is, okay, I mean, I like it because you're denying Dracon's range at least, but this is really tricky. If Hamster just micros well, he can just get value here. He needs to be careful not to lose that Dracon. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, on balance, this favors the Protoss pretty well, especially with his own Nexus coming up.
I don't know if I like moving all the way to this left side, though. This is really big. Easy opportunity for the AOT surround if he wants to do it, but... No, he's kind of bandied about a little bit too much here. I think the Zeths are just going to get completely squished. Well, at least one of them will start to go down. A lot of good hull damage happening over here, and the Legionnaire not in the fight at all.
Man, Hamster microed himself into a bad situation, then microed his way out of it, so, you know, good job.
Yep.
Only lost the Legionnaire. In fact, wait, is it even dead yet?
Yeah, it has been cleaned up in the meanwhile, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty good value for Hamster here. Now, it looks like the natural will hold. Well, hang on. There's no Circuit yet, right? He's just a bunch more Quads out, and the Dracons ain't done. They're here for round 2.
Ooh, still pops it. Remember, he has the witness here. This burrow will not work anymore. That actually might be the sort of nail in the coffin, right? Because what are you going to build in the meantime? The Hydrith is coming. Good.
Zephs can buy time, right?
Yeah.
Or he's going to focus it, or if he got that Kager in the game, probably over. The Zephs can definitely push these back, right? They're a decent unit, but the problem is the Protoss will eventually just kite them out. He gets good damage in again.
Yeah, forcing him back to this ramp. That's the crucial moment that he needs to have. And yes, the Circuit is up with half health.
That's a lot of Zephs.
Yes.
My gosh. One Circuit can't really do much, though. You really need 2 or more. Because the shields are enough that you can run in and just snipe that. Now, of course, he does have to still deal with this mass of Zephs and such. But so far, he is.
He's trying to get a good surround off over here, and looks like, yeah, he is going to be capable of doing it, but he's bleeding Zets. Only picking 1 Dracodon so far. That one very, very low, but not going to be enough yet.
Yeah, okay, well, a couple of Dracodons have fallen, but Hamster's still keeping the pressure on, and, you know, he's still making workers behind this. He's got his Embassy and his second Nexus, trying to go after that Circuit.
No.
He commits a little too much.
Yeah, that's right. That's a nice big victory there for AOT. Finally, all the damage that he's chipped away at sort of paying off. We've got 4 more Dracodons on the way, but at this point, the Hydras are out. We just need to decide when AOT is going to start making workers again.
Here's the thing, right? Oh, hang on, he needs to get back there, yeah. He needs to hold the ramp, I think, would be effective, because then the Quads would have a hard time. And there you go. It's enough Dracodons pushing back. Now, the thing is, when you're just trading units in small numbers like this, it's very beneficial for the player who's not Zerg, because Zerg has to use their lava on one thing or another, right? But that said, all the units that AOT was trading are like the cheapest units the Zerg has. He's been trading Zephs and Quas. Oh man, overcommitting from Hamster. Those Hydras are out now, and now the Dracodons have to get out of there. They cannot match that unit.
Yeah, no kidding. Even if they, they scarbor back to the ramp and mostly unscathed, that would be one thing, and it looks like no more of them will fall. But, man, that was really scary, right? Like, if Hamster hadn't pulled back at the right time, he could have lost a lot. Dude. And now the worker count is starting to come out. Yeah. 7 of them just got queued up at once.
But look at the Protoss advantage right now. 42 to 23. That's really impressive, keeping up that production while he harasses. And, this is exactly, I think, what I mentioned about versus Hamster. I decided to stop trying to hold my natural because he worked in that witness, and I was using Quas Burrow to try and defend my circus, which was effective. But once the witness is there, it's like, oh crap, I'm dead. So Hamster really showing why expanding is so difficult here, and I feel like AOT not really aware how desperately he needed to get the circus up so fast. He could have stopped some of that if he immediately put down 2 or even 3 Kagrins, but now he's got the Hydras. He's back in it here, just needs to get his worker count up a bit. And Zerg is able to catch up, but Protoss is getting that Crucible. He's ready to go into whatever tech he wants to get. And I think we're going to see an Ancestral most likely based on the gas that's saving up.
Yeah, it certainly could be. I like that he's going to empower all of his gateways at once here. So that's going to help him produce even more units. That's something we actually didn't see, crucially, out of Hupsaiya or Shambler earlier today. All right, that witness isn't necessarily long for the world, but I guess it flies right past the Obelisk, finally get picked apart. The Hydra count's still pretty good here for AOT, but Hamster does have the tech to start to deal with that pretty soon.
The Hydra and Quads are actually a very good combination. It's just that as you move these armies around, the Quads tend to get annihilated. Yeah. But as long as he still has them, they are going to add a lot of damage. They're very cost-effective Quads. That's their main benefit. Now look at that. There's the Ancestral, the old tiny Ancestral.
Yes, that's right. Not nearly as
Savor
powerful
it while
as
you can.
Yeah.
Yep. So, is it going to be straight into Patriarchs? Hamster does love building up the Patriarch count. Honestly, I feel like he really pioneered how strong that is. When you just have like 8 to 10 Patriarchs in your army, it's hard for Zerg to approach that. An Obtecton, of course, is going to be a devastating unit, but when you only have 1, it may be prone to getting picked off. Now, there's 2 overlefts out. I'm not sure where the other one went. I swear there were 2. Oh, maybe not. Never mind. I thought I saw 2 somewhere, but I mean, I'm just crazy. But I guess you can't really go for much of a drop at this point in the game with just 1. You won't really accomplish much.
Right, yeah. Well, hey, the Ancestral coming. We're going up to 6 gate off of 2 base. Thinking about the 3rd as well. Can be plopped down at any point.
Yeah, Zerg does need a 3rd base, by the way. Already oversaturated for 2 bases, as is Protoss, of course. But I would like to see it. I mean, what is AOT's game plan from here, right? Getting some back to list, but honestly, they're only really going to be good for defense here. You're not going to bust Protoss with these. Okay, I mean, Protoss is coming across, so being back on 2 base will work well, but he's not saving for tier 2. We don't have any kind of like air units or anything coming out for harass. I'm just not sure what... Oh, there you go. There is a second overlap. I knew it.
It was made after it, but yeah.
I'm not sure... What like his roadmap to victory is from here if he's not going to take more bases.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because like you mentioned, he's not saving the money, right? So
yeah, no Zorkiz either, so he can't come across with a bunch of Zoryus or something. Okay, but Protoss does not want to do this.
No, absolutely not. I don't even know if they want to take the fight out here either. I mean, the Zets are starting to get bled out. The Bactylisks can start to add a huge amount of value. That front line completely disintegrating here. AOT, he's probably going to lose that Obelisk to a right click, but maybe not. Maybe Hamster's going to allow him to get away with that.
Bounces.
Yeah.
1 more. I was hoping for one more Bacillus shot, but they're too slow. Still, though, yeah, Hydra backed is definitely enough to handle these Dracodons. And things, the Legionnaires, they're kind of decent against Hydralisks in the right numbers, but Bacillus do so much damage with no armor on those Legionnaires.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Flood of Zets here to sort of like, you kind of use the Zethar to crowbar yourself into the position, right? You just sort of like rip off the safety gates, get straight in there with the Zets because they're going to buy enough time for the retreat. Or maybe surrounding the defenses like we're about to see here, potentially.
I guess they're like the Hurakan for Zerg.
In a way, yeah. A little bit of a different use case in terms of...
That's really more like Tef's Oracles.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
All right.
Defenses are going to get besieged, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice pick if he can get it, but the Protest army is present. The battle is almost sort of front line. You've got to be careful there. Ingram is still up, needs to focus.
Okay, it's down.
It does go down.
Well, the Dracodons are here overwhelming the rest of the Hydras too, though, and now AOT can no longer fight this. So in his kind of position, I feel like he needed to kill all of the workers here or shut down the Nexus or something in order to still have an advantage. He is taking 6 o'clock, but it has been spotted.
Would have liked to see that faster or even a double expand here. Now, here's the thing, right? The Hydralisks can handle gateway units, especially the Bacillus, but they can't handle Patriarchs, especially not Tectons as well. Now that's out. He needs another option here. I would have liked to see the Zorkas, because he has a lot of minerals. And, you know, the Zoryas aren't the best unit, but they do only cost minerals, and they can tank. They can frontline pretty well. And AOT have a huge mineral bank here. Is there any more hatcheries? Oh no, he killed the gas worker. So he's scrambling now. He's scrambling now to get his economy up and presumably going to throw down tier 2 in a moment.
I cannot believe it. A Patriarch drop.
God. How much cargo space does that take?
I think it's all 6. I'm not sure.
Well, it's 10 in the
it's 4, yeah, 4, yeah.
This is doing so much damage. Oh my god, he's not reacting at all.
He's only now figured it out, yeah. There's a lot of gas available here for AOT. Like, he can throw down tier 2 at any point, but I think he's allowed the game to kind of get away from him at this stage. Trying to rotate over to defend. He picks off this Legionnaire that was on his mini-map, but antagonizing him. He completely abandoned any hope of trying to kill the Patriarch, who's now evacuated after all of its handiwork over here. He is really starting to be up against the wall at this point. Tier 2 coming down?
Arbol is coming down, yeah, finally. A bit delayed there unnecessarily. Yeah, he kind of needs some static defense up now knowing this Envoy's out. Here we go.
I don't know if it's even going to matter, man. There's not any units over here to hold this back. The 2 Optectons, or the single Optecton, actually just shredding all the front line. And with this base going down, I feel like there is no hope.
When I'm playing Zerg, I love to see Optectons just destroying all the little Zerg units. GG.
GG. Listen, you'll love it even more. You already saw how fat they are in the new version, so...
Oh my god, they're so ridiculous.
They are.
Can't wait for that to be on cast.
Yeah,
alright, well, Hamster putting a lot of pressure early on, and able to just seize the advantage and know what to do with it, right? And AOT, I feel like, looked a bit lost. I mean, he's banking up that many minerals, right? And like I was saying, he wasn't expanding or going for tier 2. Sort of just hoping his Hydra back would be enough.
And, you know, not only that, but despite everything else that had gone down there, I feel like at the same time, okay, you get dropped. The reaction was slow. Like, there was a lot of things happening on the map, but he didn't put down his Zorkas, so he had no opportunity to flood his mineral account down a little bit. Because you don't need 2k minerals as Zerg. They're really, like, especially so early.
You can make Izzies as well. They'd be okay.
Yeah, that would also be okay. It's just it was peculiar of AOT to go in that position. Maybe he was thinking about a different move or something that we couldn't see. Either way, though, we're going to go to Impetus for map number 2, and remember, loser picks all the maps here. So if he takes down Hamster, Hamster will pick map 3, and so on. Let's see what happens here, because AOT down by 1. That doesn't really mean anything just yet, but man, we've had 3-0s all day today. So let's see if it happens again. Game 2 getting started. We've got AOT in the bottom left and Hamster in the top right.
All right, Impetus. Solid pick for Zerg. It's pretty wide open, so Zerg can get those surrounds. But, as we saw, quite good for Gladius, as we saw in my matches, right? And Hamster is a fan of the Gladius, but maybe not after the games we played, because now we see him go straight for the Ancestral. But maybe that's a function of the fact that the game went the way he wanted it to, hassling the Natural so much.
Yeah, it's a little curious. I mean... This is a map that can be a little bit hard to actually secure your natural, but that's what the Hatch at the Ramp will help you with, right? You demonstrated this on this map versus Hamster, but this is also the map that Hamster won versus you, albeit with a very interesting path to victory there, where it was very, very bloody for a very long time.
Yes, well, that's what I was worried about happening versus Shambler, by the way, on Axiom. Almost got sucked into the same situation where too many units are getting traded out. But hey, it's not that match anymore. He's going to go for that low ground hatch. No, I'm wrong. Denied.
Denied.
Dead wrong.
Caster cursed.
I do like the low ground. If you can get away with it, it's much better because you can get the K-grids immediately.
Yeah.
The only problem is Protoss can cannon rush, and it can be pretty tricky. And if Protoss proxied, you're so dead.
Yes.
Not that Hamster would probably ever do that in a tournament match, though.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, he's not the type. I think that's more of a Hupsaiya or Shambler thing.
He definitely cannon rush, though. He definitely.
Oh yeah, because he's just used to that, right? He's done that versus
I
Veek
guess
a bunch
so.
of times.
There you go. Look, man, I love cannon rush when I play Protoss. When I played Starcraft 2, if I got Protoss, like, you better watch out for your hatchery. My favorite thing to do is build, like, a gateway in the spot where the hatchery is supposed to go. So they're never going to be able to build it. Alright, double gateway again. And gas is being mined, so I don't think we're going to see any kind of deviation here from Hamster. Why would he? The last game went so smoothly. Let's see if AOT can figure something else out.
That's right. All on the underdog. Who can take it? That's the question. Hamster is going to go ahead and get his Legionnaire out first. Dracodon immediately following it up, but...
Ooh, can he evade?
oh my god, dodge and turn. Whoa!
Get out
What
of there.
the
Get out of
moves?
there.
Look at the moves!
Oh my god, that's actually really nice micro. Oh, he's going to get it, though.
Yeah.
Nice try, AOT, but... Oh, yeah.
Hey, there it is. I know,
Yeah,
it's
that was
like
a really
all
good
of those
job,
micro jukes, and then all the Protoss has to do is get one attack. Nerf toss, honestly. Easy.
Well, it's kind of like you'd have to succeed 100 skill checks in a row to get that guy home.
Yeah, I know. and the enemy would have to also, not actually micro their unit.
True.
Pretty good, pretty good. Well, the worker is going to go home for Hamster, so there's the 100 skill checks done.
You know what? I don't like this Hatchros position, actually, because you can't fit the K-Grid on the far right there on the high ground, which is a very strong stack defense position. It's interesting. It seems not so useful because it doesn't actually cover the entrance anymore, but later in the game, it can be really impactful when big fights are going on,
Yeah.
especially if you get a Scorch Rift and get that extra range.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, he can put one here and then maybe he's creep it forward, but we'll see if it even
What a
comes
waste.
into sort of situation here because Hamster isn't fully attacking. He's going for the embassy again.
What's AOT saving up for? Are we going to see a Zorkiz? I'm waiting for him to build something here.
Yeah, with that gas. Instead, he's just pushing him back. He does have the ability to go for that hatch again, but it looks like that's what he's going to do. He's going for the Expo. Gas must be for a Zorkiz afterwards, though, I would feel like.
Or a Larbosk, I wonder. If you flood enough Zips, you can push those Dracodons back, but again, I wonder how much value they're going to get. Hamster getting the embassy again, shaping up exactly the same as last game. Like I was saying, what can AOT do differently this time?
It's a little dicey, for sure. It's a little dicey. We've got the Quasis, we got the
This is
Zets.
Brood War.
Yeah.
This is Brood War. 5 Lings show up to 3 Dragoons. The Dragoons are like, oh god, run.
Yeah, exactly. Not here. They're much more like Chads here. Just look at them.
Yeah,
They
very
even turn.
defensive from Hamster. They are, kind of. Very defensive from Hamster, by the way, getting that cannon on the high ground. Now, it does sort of defend your natural, because what you do is the Dracodons can fight down there and retreat to the cover of the cannon to get their shields back. But he doesn't have a Nexus yet, and I wonder why he's feeling a bit more under the pressure. Nice. Because he got a full scout of Zerg, right? He knows he's doing the same thing. But this game, he's not coming across as aggressively. Well, I say that, but then he immediately moves out.
It's still interesting. I mean,
Ooh, degen?
no, it's not going to degen. You can't
Would have been
degen
a
the
great
Shambler.
play.
Come on now.
Would have been a really good choice because he needs to defend against Dracodons here somehow, and he's falling into the same pattern. But Hamster knows how to deal with this. He's got the Witness already on the way.
That's right. Let's see what AOT's got in the can. Aside from that, a lot of money in the bank right now. Still hasn't spent that gas, mind you. Okay, now he's
Needs
got
to
the
make
den
some
coming.
units, man. Okay, well, he unburrows, walks them off. Yeah, the den does take unfortunately long. You'll find in these situations you're playing Zerg, you're like, come on, is it not done yet? And you end up banking all your money instead of making quad units at least, and can't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, I think AOT will be able to push this back. Oh, it's a lot of Dracodons though. Oh,
Yeah, he's got the 4 pairs of Quasis and now 7 pairs of Zets about to hatch. So he should be able to do something here. But so many of them getting bopped as soon as they get born. Cruel world.
Yeah, the Dracodons really can't micro back. Here we go. Like I was saying, if he put the K-Grid on the low ground, it would have been looking pretty good here. Is he going to get a Dracodon? Nope.
Oh my god, it's brutal, man. Even losing the transport on top of everything else.
Yeah, the Quas are just helpless here. Once the Dracodon counts this high, as long as your opponent's microing, then it's pretty doomed. K-Grid going up now, but it's too little too late. I think AOT may lose this game before the Hydras are even out. Well, they are morphing.
Yeah, they are. There's 2 very, very wounded Dracodons over here, but none of them finished off. Only one of them going down so far in the whole game.
Well, Hamster doesn't have a Nexus up yet. It's on its way still. So if you can somehow keep this Hatchros alive, which isn't going to be easy... Oh, hang on, here we go. Nice hits from the Circuit. as we can see, it is still giving some value, even though it can't really help the main area.
Yeah, it would be attacking this left one over here if you were talking about what you were talking about was true, right? So
it'd be a great spot.
Hydra's now on the field.
Looks like he may be able to hold this Acherosk. You know what? And that's not too bad, because even though he's behind in workers, he'll be able to saturate it again pretty quickly. The Hamster doesn't even want to try and fight the Hydras. He's like, 3 Hydras, get me out of here.
Yeah, he could have still fought that, but, doesn't want to.
The Circuit was getting good damage in there, by the way, so I don't hate Newt pulling back here. I think it's okay. Would like to see him maintain the contain at least for a little bit. Because if AOT's just making Hydras, he's not making workers.
That's right, that's right. And right now that is the case. Only Hydras, not workers. Down 8 of them so far. But, Zerg can always bounce back pretty fast thanks to the larva. Plus they have cheap units, right? So that helps.
True. Well, I mean, the Hydras in particular, like, they're just cost effective. That's the thing, the Hydras and the Quas, individually they kind of suck. They can be destroyed by Splash and other things, but you can just make so many of them, and they do a very good job for their cost.
I could see it being the case. I mean, we've got a Rogue Gallery coming behind the 4 gates, so this is an interesting choice. We'll see. I love this little line that's going on here for Hamster.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's not the right concave, but it actually kind of is, because the angle you want to go out here, you do want to go straight up instead of to the side, because you get caught on this range too much. So Hamster in general, by the way, has always had a very good understanding of Brood War pathing and stuff, whereas, some players have strengths other than that, we've seen.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, AOT should definitely know that too, and this is the kind of perfect player to use that against, if you think about it, right? He's the guy who's the Brood War sort of veteran coming in here. And he's the kind of guy that you don't really want to mess with on an even keep playing field in terms of Brood War knowledge, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here he comes. And I was going to say, we were talking about the bracket before, by the way, it's very impressive how in a short time AOT's so up on Cosmonarchy. Like, you look at this game, right? We've seen some other games from AOT where we look at them and go like, oh, I guess he doesn't know XYZ yet. But this game, he clearly is fully up on how Cosmonarchy works and all the features and stuff, right? Yep. I'm not neglecting any of the tactics and things like that.
Yeah, he tried to do the burrow thing. He's going to go for the Shroud. He did lose his Avaleth earlier, so he won't be able to deny that witness for a little bit. 2 Rogue Galleries.
How come you call it a Shroud? Do you feel dorky if you say Zorkis?
I usually say... I try to say Pool, Den, Shroud, and stuff like that. Zorkis is fine, too.
Well, could there be different dens and different pools? There is, like... Oh, it's not just Cavern, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Alright, more Draken is falling. Yeah, they really can't compete with these Hydra. They need to get out of there.
That's right. Gotta watch
The Vagrants are fine, but they don't really solve the problem. They just delay it. It's just like, okay, here's some front line, but once there's enough Hydralists, they once again will start to chew through that. Didn't go for the Ancestral, right? So we're going to see what he does here. A couple of Barghests would probably be worth it, but they might get picked off pretty quickly.
Yep.
Zealots coming out. If you have a high number, not a bad choice. It's going to be like Zealot, Vagrant, Purifier, Legionnaire, I should say. What is the gas going to be for? What is he doing here?
Oh, he's spending a lot of it on the Charlatan right now.
Oh, I didn't see. Okay, I quite like it. Vagrant Charlatan's probably very good.
Yep. Multiply that
especially
damage,
with some
right?
Barghests.
Yeah.
Get some Barghests in there so the armor isn't unduly stopping them, because Hydras do have 1 armor. And I think that would be a very strong combination. But you need, I think, 3 or 4 Charlatans, especially so they don't get picked off too fast. And the problem with this is you need hella Vagrants so that the Charlatans don't die, because they're not that long range.
Yeah, that's right. You do need a pretty big front line for sure, and it's kind of like a multi-tiered front line right now, where he's got Legionnaire Zealot, and he also has the Vagrant behind them, and then when the Vagrants die, they become supercharged. This could be a very deadly force that AOT has to contend with right now. He does have some Zorius out, but no crowd control.
I mean, you do want that sort of depth, right? Because then you have lots of different DPS coming in, and the Zorius will be very effective here. And this is sort of the problem Protoss is going to have. What they're trying to do, Protoss is just going to do better. The Zorius is just going to be way better front line here than the Zealots will be. But there aren't that many of them. Hydra's getting their damage in. He has to pull back a bit here.
Oh, and the Charlatan's about to join the fight. That is just going to instantaneously bring down so many of them. And yeah, unfortunately, the pathing not working out there for AOT. He's going to get routed on the other side. Has brought down at least 1 of the Vagrants. So it'll soon expire.
I'm not worried for Zerg. He can make a lot of Hydras, and that's all he really needs to make here. Hydras with a few Zorius, and he'll be fine. Fighting a bit far in front of the Circus, maybe, but he's going to chew through the front line. Bad concave here. AOT needs to be careful, doesn't overcommit, but Hamster gives him a bit of space. He gets in. Oh, the Zealots are falling so fast. And now he can get on top of those Draconers. They will melt immediately if they don't get out of here.
One of the Charlatans got picked as well, revealing the 3rd base on the way out, but he knows at the very least, the Hamster does, that he is in a better spot. We got a bottom right, couple workers having a bit of a
Hamster's still doing okay here, but you got to be careful, right? If this core army gets wiped once, Zerg will come across the map and kill you. And you saw what I was talking about. The charlatans do get baited into being pretty close to the enemy.
Yep. Yeah, once your front line falls, you really need to fall back. It's like in StarCraft 1 where your zealots die, you fall back with your dragoons. It's like that, but on steroids for versus Hydras and Cosmo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't fear Zerglings anymore, but they sure do still fear Hydras.
That's right, yeah. You can't really change that. And
oh, look,
man,
this is a Brood War game.
Yeah.
Zerg's running around with 100 Hydras.
Yes.
Protoss has some kind of diverse, fragile army. You don't see hallucination very often in PvZ, though, I will say that.
Yes.
Right, the Vargas to here. Ooh.
They are. I mean, you know, they help ignore one of the damages, at least. Needs to fall back. Not really getting too much of a value there. Unfortunately, one of the charlatans did indeed fall again. Trying to get the Vargas proc on that, but they get eviscerated immediately, yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough vagrants here, unfortunately. I mean, it looks like he might take the fight, but I still think it's pretty good value for Zerg all up.
Yep.
Oh, he's still getting the Dragon and Zerg. Never mind, Protoss ain't going to take this fight.
No, he's not. But hey, he still managed to, you know, thin the herd a little bit, I guess, is one way to put it.
Yeah, but the Protoss herd is the one that's hard to rebuild. I mean,
I don't know. He's got 80 workers.
Zerg is happy.
85 workers. You look at the worker count,
That is
definitely
the point.
favoring Hamster. He's going for the Argosy.
Look, you are right, but I see this as sort of an unforced error by 80.
Oh, sure.
I feel like he could be taking that fight and also have 80 workers, you know? He made a bunch of Zephyrs. I think he's thinking he's going for the kill here. You definitely want to make Zephyrs when you're doing that, but he's not going to be able to break third Engram so easily. And man, a lot of Ecclesiast Legionnaire will be enough to deal the Zephyrs. The Argosy is sort of like a Doom timer for Zerg. Oh, man. Oh, speaking of Doom.
Yeah. Well, hey, the Charlatan gets picked. That's a pretty nice find.
Yeah. Well, this is only minerals you're losing here. But he's not at tier 2 yet. Again, the gas has spiked up so high, but the eye roll has not started. AOT not ready to smoothly transition here. He's getting a bunch of Drollers, which he does need. He's going to have a hard time delaying Protoss enough. Oh, I didn't even see the top left have been taken. That could be a target for those Zevs. Protoss holding their heels.
Mm-hmm. Feels like it's a little hard for AOT to get any decisive advantage right now, but he can throw down tier 2 at any point.
Yeah, he needs to. I was going to say about the Argosy, right? Even at tier 2, I feel like there isn't a very good answer to most Argosy units for Zerg, but at tier 1, forget about it. You're so screwed. Oh, he doesn't get that.
No.
So, yeah, he needs to get tier 2 up, and he needs to get a big worker advantage. I was saying to Jack Lansky, right, we were talking about like how to play against Protoss. It's like, if they get Argosy, what do you do? And I said, well, my best strategy is to drop in their base and kill the Argosy before it makes anything. But he's not going to be able to do this here.
Right.
He's going to have to fight it, right? I assume it's going to be Empyreans or maybe just a Didact to start with. Didact would be pretty good with that ground army.
Oh,
but
yeah.
AOT...
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. I want to point out that the Didact is actually in a really strong place right now. The Hamster has used it versus Terran before. There's a nice little run by here for AOT, getting a couple worker kills.
Well, lest we forget how my base got blasted. Ascension 6. But anyway.
Yes. Everybody's favorite.
Man, he's getting a lot of damage with these.
Yes. Unforced error again, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Alright, the Legion has shown up to deal with this. So, Empyreans are coming out. I do think Empyrean is all around the strongest unit from the Argosy. Obviously, a single recall can turn a game completely. So, I think he's going to get Didex eventually. That's a lot of lava.
It is.
Once again, I feel like...
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
No, he just doesn't have... He's not spending the cash, right? Like, okay, there we go. Down to 26 Hydras. I mean, that's something.
Once again, I feel like AOT sort of lacking a plan a bit here, right? Like, maybe something else distracting me. Always wanted to mass these Hydras, but given how long Tier 2 took, I feel like he just wasn't prepared to, like, go up to it at a certain time or, like, with certain triggers, right? He's sort of improvising.
Going for the upgraded Den, though, so he will be able to grab himself some Teths. Teths are really, really good versus... I really want to say a lot of the sustain, and also versus Gladiuses. You probably didn't expect me to say that, but they sustain through the balls, right? So
I saw that cast. It did surprise me. And, you know, I was thinking about something at TEF, so you might see him in the finals. We'll see.
Here we go.
Well, here we go. You don't want this fight as Protoss. You need your Argosy units here, man. These Hydras will destroy everything here.
They sure will, man. This is looking real good for AOT all of a sudden.
Hello.
Yeah, just a one guy running in. Is all these upgraded static defenses coming up, too.
Okay, that might be a bit much. Look, I love building static defense walls, and especially on this like right side, it's very important, but I think that's a bit much of a gas investment, quite frankly. That's like 300, 400 gas over there in all those Scorchruffs.
Look, he's building your favorite structure, though. And look at this. Oh, my God. No way the attempt here with 5, count 'em, Kabbalists. He's going to snipe this eye roll, man. There's no hope.
Yeah, he's done this to me. I think he tested it versus me, and then he did it versus AOT. Is he going to get more if he gets that back diff, or whatever it's called now?
Yeah, Tef.
It'd be a huge... Tef Viff, sorry. It would be a huge deal, because he's going to need Vifrilists against this Argosy stuff, right? Okay, so Zerg has lost the tier 2. Tier 3 is not going to happen, but he does still have all the structures he sort of needs to fight at tier 2. The question is, how many Drolef are going to die, apparently, because he's dropping in multiple locations while the fight's going on. Zerg will dominate this fight, and the Empyreans may be in danger, but nonetheless, damage is being done in the Zerg base.
Oh, yeah.
The Empyrean doing a lot of damage in the back. Can these Hydras actually shoot through? There's a lot of Vagrants shoot damage as well. Will the Zerg army actually be crushed at the same time while taking damage at home?
I think so, man. The Vagrants are too strong right now. This is just nice surround there. And here come the drop again with the Cabalists going after the production at this point. Hamster putting everybody through Protoss school right now. The workers having to evacuate multiple bases. They didn't start remining again over here. There's a misclick from AOT. He's not going to be able to get any income, and he's run dry on the money. Only got the Kagralisks out right now. Chases off.
Those Cabalists, are they dead?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's still got him. Ooh. Ready to snipe Hatchross on demand. Well, he has a lot of Scorchriffs here, but they're not going to help versus the Empyreans.
No kidding. Yeah, the Hydras can't really get into his position to engage. Okay, reset. Take a breath. Get your workers back on the line. Doesn't look like it's happening yet. Scorchriff now getting attacked from the right side.
Okay, Kagralists do the damage, but they're very squishy. So I don't know if they're quite the unit for Empyreans with their short range, but they will sure help against this ground army. They're going to destroy Zealots. Very good against those. And the Scorchriff's absolutely going to annihilate the ground army.
Yeah, his units maybe moved a little bit too far forward here, but the Kagralisks trying to clean things up from afar.
Yeah, they sort of can. I feel like the Empyreans are really the threat to them, though. Like, they start splashing them. Oh, man, he's pulling a J-Dong. He's got all his units in his main. He's walled them off with the Drolef.
I can't believe it. AOT still hasn't reset his workers in the natural. He has no idea that he's only on 2 bases, and one of them is depleted anyway. Oh, man.
You know what would be really good here is actually Quasilists, because at least they can make the Empyrean respect them. Okay, maybe not respect them, you know what I mean. They have to even look at them. Whereas all these Zoyus and stuff, and the Zephyrs he's made, are not going to matter. Well, once again, Scorchriff going to get their value, though.
Big time. That gas expenditure happening in pretty good time here, I guess. Oh, let me just look in here again. What more can I do over here? How about this Alcag that you're using? Yeah, how about I just snipe that real quick?
He needs that so badly. Oh, it's going to go down for sure. Is he going to get more? If he gets the Tef Viff, this game is overdue, because the only hope is his Vifrilisks. Oh, man. Still those Scorchriffs.
Well, finally, some of these Cabalists will get cleaned up. And he's going to save that, too.
I mean, Zoyu Celeste still important here, but I don't think it's going to be like that bad to lose that. But, I mean, where is the army? Okay, Kagralists again.
I don't think there's enough, man. You can't make it through all of these Wardens, bro. Good luck. Not with your attempt at streaming them all in one at a time.
Dude. AOT's out here trying to play Cosmonarchy. Hamster's playing fastest with that cannonball. Oh my god. He's building the Stargate units, like the high-tech units as well.
Yeah. Flying toss, right? Sky toss.
Well, we found the spot with only 3 cannons.
Yes, yeah. What a remarkable find. But the army comes on back in from the rally point. Sure, you pop the engram, but you don't get any 8-go damage whatsoever.
I mean, look, in a normal game, I wouldn't hate that, because you're trading, like, I don't know, 1,000 minerals for 100 gas. Pretty good trade for Zerg, to be honest. But the situation as it is, even minerals might be tough.
Yeah, and he can't even get on top of these Empyreans either. There's only 2 of them in the field, but I'm sure there's more of them lying around somewhere.
The Alcag is dead, right? There will be no more Kagralists unless he restarts tier 2. What is he going to make against these Empyreans?
He's looking over it. He's got a lot of money, but he doesn't know what to make anymore because his tech got sniped.
Maybe he's trying to make Zoyus and doesn't realize I've done that before. I'm just keep spamming the button. I'm like, why do I still have minerals? Oh, man, those Kagralists do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they can dish it out, but there's only a few of them left. Endangered species for AOT. He makes a lot of workers, but he doesn't have them on the board just yet. He still doesn't have enough money.
Still getting value. Wardra's still clutch here, honestly. I was mocking them for not being able to deal with the Empyreans, but they've been absolutely key to holding on here. What does he have here?
He's making 16 pairs of gnats versus splash damage AoE. Empyreans are like the worst thing to fight against that. But we might not even get to that point because the death push is coming on in.
Well, we can see that Hamster knows how to play this. You don't worry about the Grand Army too much. You just trade it constantly, but the Empyrean count keeps rising and rising. Eventually it gets to a point where nothing can even come near it. And here's the naps. But oh man, they're not even going to touch him.
Not quite. Not quite the move.
Oh,
no, don't make me look at it. Oh my god. Oh, GG.
GG.
All right.
4 of them got to live. Oh, no.
Just to spite you, apparently. Hamster doesn't hit the ready button until after the last one dies. Well, 2-0 start here for our boy Hamster. Looking good. AOT back against the wall. And as we jump into what could be our final game, do you think, is this another 3-0 that we're watching?
I mean, it looks like it. AOT lacking the later game knowledge. I did kind of say this, right? That if Hamster just takes it steady, techs up a bit, he's gonna have the advantage because I think he's just a lot more experienced, and we saw it, right? Especially that move with the Cabal drop. Like I was saying, he's even like tested that out against me, right? Whereas I think it's uncharted territory for AOT.
Yep, I feel like really when I'm looking at the way that Hamster has played this, he has had a game plan. He's had some tricks up his sleeve to deal with Zerg specifically. The Kabbalist drop we've never seen before. The Patriarch drop in game 1 we never saw. We're going to Derelict for the next map. That was selected by AOT. What do we think?
I'm glad I saw that Patriarch drop now and he didn't use that on me first, because now I'll know it might be coming.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man. We saw, I don't know if AOT is aware of the fact you can drop workers. I do like that. But in general, it's a tough map to engage on a Zerg. I feel like anywhere on the map you are, Protoss or Terran has a way to make the fight narrow and not be surrounded. So I don't know.
All right, well, let's see exactly how it goes. This could be our third 3-0 of the day, or we go to a map number 4. Is AOT going to bring us there, or is Hamster going to send us out? We're going to Derelict to find the answer out. AOT in the bottom left and Hamster in the top right.
All right. You know, another thing about Derelict as well, I think it's extremely hard to break the natural because the ramp is positioned just so that Drakodens can really take advantage of it. And I got to say that from what I've seen, I think AOT is going to have to take an early game win here.
Okay. I can agree with that. I mean, his Hydra play in the mid game of Impetus did look pretty solid, but it's just that he didn't have the right transition into it, right? And that's despite Hamster giving him some options.
Well, is it going to be just double gate Embassy? I'll be shocked if Hamster does anything else. Honestly, even if Hamster had lost the games, he doesn't tend to try and add that much variety. And I think I've said this before on cast that it's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you're just really good at doing that one thing that you do, doing it every time might still be the best option. I mean, this is what I was saying about 7-pool, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, just throw in a little bit of something in. I always point to your 6 stockade against Veek right after a very long match on Infinite Velocity. You go to Nitro Valley.
I got so unlucky, dude. With the game, I would have won the game in 3 minutes, but I guess I had to win the game in 13 minutes or whatever. You know, what a pain.
Yeah, because of course, you know, it's cross spawn.
Yeah, of course. Oh man, why am I asking to bring 4-player maps back? I'm gonna have to have that pain again.
It's the lattice first here for Hamster, so he's changing up pretty big.
All right, throw everything out that I just said. I swear to God, I'm always wrong.
Well, listen, I agree with your analysis, though. Like, Hamster does tend to stick to a similar plan, unless he's winning, like, overwhelmingly, and then he, for the love of the game, apparently decides, oh, I'll give him a chance by playing a different strat. I don't know, he doesn't push his advantage sometimes. Like, against Hupsaiya in his debut, right? He just immediately slapped him down.
Well, like I was saying, he's not the kind of guy who, like, you know, if he's crossing the quicksand, he wouldn't step on your head and push you down just to get out himself. So
yeah.
That's what he has to do to AOT, though, to get back into the finals.
It's rough, man. It's a hard position to be in when you're up against a guy named Hamster. By the way, a little note, but these are going to be 3x3 instead of 3x2 in the new version of the game.
Oh, no.
Slightly bigger.
Right. Is that already in? Because I didn't build them when I tried that out. Oh, I tried the Grand Library and the Ancestral already, by the way.
Okay.
But I didn't try that out.
How do you feel about those changes?
That's cool. I wish the Grand Library still wasn't as big, but it looks cool at least. Anyway, back to this actual game. We don't have any patches here. Third Lattice, man. Is he going to go like hardcore into Vassal?
It could be. It's a little experimental, but he's up 2-0 in the set. He can afford to experiment a little bit.
This is a pretty greedy pool. I think what we saw here was AOT got additional drones after the hatch before the pool. So this gives a bit of window to harass. Now, of course, with the burrows, he shouldn't get any kills here as long as AOT's on top of the micro. The Quaz are going to take a little bit to come out, though. They take a little bit to build. Let's see if he can get any kills here. He gets one. Doesn't want to lose another one. Is he going to burrow? He's going to burrow. He knows he can burrow. He did 2 of them. Why is he not burrowing the rest? There we go. Okay, he just burrows all of them. Quaz are out. Is that enough Quaz? I guess it is.
Yeah, he should be all right. He does need to get back to work, though. One of them getting moved away out to the side there. A little bit awkward.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not my boss, Pronogo. Like, you know, there's an airstrike on my workplace. You're like, all right, back to work.
Yeah, listen, we're no strangers to this. Ooh. Now, this is a nice little burrow trap in case Hamster
decides to bait him in more, though. If I were AOT, I'd, like, send some Drolef over to that far mineral patch. Like, look at me.
Right, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It doesn't really work if he sees you, Burrow Man. That's not the play.
Vassal's just sharking around looking for more. It is full Vassal the whole time.
Okay, he's getting a Hydrophere, and Skiffracor, obviously going to destroy this.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to take into that, a lot of gas. I think he does need a Sprafe in the meantime, or he can just get Magic Boxed here. Not as good as Race, of course, but if you have enough of them, Quaz will not be able to compete. We're talking like 30 plus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking a Spraith over here would be nice versus this.
Yeah, one at the ramp, one in the line. You always need one at the ramp when you're up against these air harass strategies. Is very important, but we don't see either for AOT. I mean, he's trying to save money, right?
Yeah.
This is sort of what we're saying about those Gladius in my games. It's like the wrong decision for the right reasons. Oh,
he's entering the warp gate.
This is how you get an infested Nexus, dude.
That's right.
That's how hybrids came to be.
Looking away for just a moment. Loses one of them. Not so
but he got 2 cores for that, so I mean, that's okay.
Oh
Man, poor guy.
He could not make it into the warp gate.
Poor guy. He was trying to go back to Ire and start a sanctuary there.
Yeah. They're like, location not found. Oh, he figured it out. He found his hidden guy. He's down here.
Nice. More and more vassals coming out. Now, if Hamster overextends just into vassals here, and suddenly AOT has an army that can handle that, he's going to be in a tough spot. An idol coming out, but that's not really that useful against Hydralisks. It's fine against Quaz, I suppose, but against Hydralisks, no way.
I don't know, man. This is looking a little bit... I don't really know what the path to an early victory is here for Hamster, but I guess he can just, like, stall out until he has, like, enough robo units. Maybe he was, like... He somehow was inspired through the ether, because Hamster and AOT played their game before Hupsaiya versus Newt, and he's like, I know, I sense a disturbance. Hupsaiya will build nothing but robotics. I will do it too. And he's trying to go for that.
Oh, man. He's under a lot of pressure here, though, because we have, like, 6 or 7 Hydras to back this up, if there's that many yet. It's going to be hard to hold. The high ground can be very important here, and the Idol's in position. He probably has enough of a bulk of vassals to buy time, because there's no splash damage here. The window for skiffs is sort of closed because the Idol's going to be out now and there's some splash damage, but AOT coming across at a good angle here. If you can clear out the vassals without the Idols doing anything, this will be very dangerous. Look at how fast he retreats. Oh, that pylon. Oh, that's really unfortunate that he lost that. Now this cannon's doing absolutely nothing. This Nexus is under big threat. Okay, he's going to come down into vassals. Where are the Idols? They're still on the high ground. Here they come. But they're going to do not much to these Hydras, and the Hydras can pick them off very easily. Oh, he's in a lot of trouble here. In fact, the game may indeed end. There's still that high ground cannon is going to do work, but I think AOT might be looking at taking it. Once he kills his Nexus, he may be able to bust up the ramp. Well, vassals there holding on. Okay, I don't know. I'm looking at this. There's a lot of Quaz, a lot of Zeph that the Idols will destroy. Okay, they're pulling back. Doing decent damage. Okay, looks like AOT is just going to bank the win and go home. I don't see an expansion for AOT, unfortunately. So he did take out the Protoss expansion, reset things to sort of status quo. But what does he do from here? Has to draw up a bit more. And of course, Hamster just builds it immediately.
Yeah, why not? Let's just go straight back to the rebuild. The worker coming in here for AOT's eventual expo. I love the pressure, but he didn't thin out too many vassals. He didn't really reduce the standing army. So even though he delays the expo, like, he hasn't... I don't know if he's earned enough of a reprieve from Hamster's shenanigans. And indeed, more vassals are flying across.
Look at the worker count. Compare the worker count, I think Zerg will come ahead here. If he does make workers. I mean, he needs to watch out for that Hatchross, though. That could get picked off so quickly by those vassals.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not that quickly, actually. It is a Hatchross.
It's quick enough. I mean, you're reducing 3 damage, so yeah, it's only going to
get picked off so medium speed by those vassals. No, he's not using them, though.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be zoned away, but he gets a confirmation that the army is still over there, so that should allow Hamster to feel pretty comfortable. Going for a Stargate, so it's not just Robo, it's also Sky Toss. He wants to go straight for, like, Vassal, what? You think, like, Vassal Gladius? Something like that?
I mean, I don't know. The Gladius need, like, a ground front line. Get out of there, Vassals. Get out of there. You don't want to fight that. Although, 1 Hydra for 1 Vassal, not bad at all.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I think it's much better with Zealots, but Golems could be an option. They just cost a lot, Zealots are more efficient, so I wonder, is he going to go for like a bunch of Golems and then Gladius, or is it going to be something like Exemplar, because he has a bunch of Vassals to guard them against air units?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's got 18 Vassals heading on over here, 3 more per rotation coming on in. This does feel like he could get some damage. I mean, he can obviously just focus down the Spraith.
I mean, do you want to do that, though? You're going to lose, like, 3 of them. I don't know if it's a good decision. Well, let's see.
Oh man, he just guns down the workers instead. Yeah, forcing the burrow, not a bad choice. And now he's going to fly out thanks to the speed boost, right? Only losing 2 vassals, gets 3 workers. We'll take that.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. You gotta be careful though, because you don't want this vassal count to get reduced to 0. It is Gladius coming up, by the way. If you suddenly find yourself with no vassals as coming across, you're gonna have a hard time. So it seems good, but you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Nice pick there.
Well, he's also knowing
is...
where the vassals are, which is kind of half the battle here
Yes.
for AOT. He's going to go for the Obelith for a very late scout.
He needs a second Sprafe, dude. He needs to respect this threat, which he really hasn't been. This whole game, he didn't get the Sprafe immediately. He's only got 1 now. If he's not careful, like, his tech might get stuck. There's a lot of bad things that happen. Back to list, though. Gonna crush
Okay,
those.
well, that one was 3 Hydra, or 3 vassals for 1 Hydra. I don't know if I like that
Ooh.
trade as much.
Yeah. Well, it is 25 gas for the Zerg and 225 minerals for the Protoss, so probably pretty bad for Zerg. I don't know.
I have to
Zerg
see.
needs so much gas, dude. Alright, but it's going to take time to build up the Gladius count to actually do anything about Hydras. Because the thing is, if you have like 1 Gladius, Hydras can handle that so easily. So I would like to see some golems. Even just for defense, he's going to need some kind of wall here.
Yeah, feels like it. Oh, Witness getting spotted on the way in as well. I mean, he knows that the force is here, so he's going to circle back with the vassals and swing them on up to try to defend his natural. Doesn't want to lose it again.
Well, the Witness did its job, right? It revealed the attack. Oh, these idols need to be so careful.
There's really no front
Gladius?
line here, right? Like, what are you even going to try to tank
the
the
Bactals?
Bactals with?
He could have focused by them, but I guess the vassals die so fast.
Well, he did buy a
Gladius
little
will
bit of
frontline.
time, right? The Hydra's now taking a lot of damage, but no, I
Yeah.
think AOT can kind of overwhelm him here.
Yeah, Bactal's very good against both idols and vassals. The Gladius is trying to do its best, but it's only alone. Its buddy got
Yeah,
killed.
get him with the workers.
Battle workers? That's the meme.
Oh, it's
Right,
kind of
Gladius
working
can
versus
actually-
the artillery, you know?
Yeah, Gladius can destroy Bactalus if they get on top of them. He needs to stay close, though. He doesn't want to get far
Ah,
away.
battle workers!
Nice.
My
Oh, they're
God,
going
dude.
down.
Oh yeah, you're right. You
Back
just
up, right?
reminded me that you awakened a memory that I had lost a long time ago of battle workers, where there's like a whole game
Yes.
where all I said was battle workers.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get you to do that again.
yeah.
Oh,
Listen.
no, don't do it. Don't do it. Gladius,
Oh, he
you
took the
wanna die.
Bactal. Oh,
Did he?
that's highway robbery. You can't just pick him off on the way out.
Oh, he's losing all his workers, though.
Yeah.
And he's going to lose his Gladius. He needs to give this base up and go up the ramp. I mean, I don't know if he can win from there, but he certainly can't stay in the game if he fights down here. Oh, look at the
Oh
micro.
no.
Look at that micro.
Too easy for AOT, man. I think he's gonna post a dub
Yeah.
here. How can
Even
Hamster
holds the
fight back
bounty.
against this with the tools he's got right now? He's got 1,000 minerals in the bank, true, but he's gonna lose his Nexus again.
Oh man, that shield regen on the Nexus though, as usual, tanking with the town center is the way to win games in Cosmonarchy. He's kind of pulling this off. He lost to Gladius, but like, how much is left? Oh, no, he's gonna lose the Nexus, dude.
Battle workers! Oh, never mind. They're homeless workers now.
They did not bad against Bactalus, right? Oh, he loses another one. It's worse to both ults, right? He lost the Gladius and the Nexus.
That's
if
right.
he only lost one of the two, then he'd be doing alright. And now there's only one cannon here. Yeah, no, this
Wait,
is
battle
over.
workers. Oh, never mind. No battle
No, they're
workers.
just workers.
Just workers. And the Artosis
Non-combatant.
pylon goes down. Nothing is powered. That's got to be GG, right? Hamster, you cannot make it
Man.
out of here. It's going to be called.
GG. I'm kind of impressed he fit that much on one pylon, actually. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But also, big problem.
Also a big problem. Yeah, I have to agree with that estimation of things. Well, AOT, you get your mug on the screen for that one. Congratulations on posting a dub versus Hamster. But can you do it again? And then, can you do it again? Like, again.
This is the start of the comeback, man.
That's
The
right.
reverse sweep. Just setting it up.
Well, game 4, map 4, is on German Nation. And that's a map that's like, depending on how you play it, it's good for Zerg or it's good for Protoss. So let's see what ends up happening as we get on into it. It still could be our last one, right? This is where that series-winning gong goes off in your head every time you start a map. Hamster on match point in the top left. AOT, he's clawed one back. He needs to do more in the bottom right.
Yeah. You know, interesting. Hupsaiya vetoed this, by the way, and I'm not quite sure what he had in mind. Although that was against Terran, right? I kind of like it for Protoss because you get that Warden on the overhang and the natural's quite easy to take. Of course, the in-base is kind of just a slap in the face for Protoss because their flying workers don't really care if it's a flying base or
Yes.
not, right? You don't really make them for that. But that's a long-term consideration. And as we've seen, Hamster is going to be at the advantage in any long-term game, it looks like.
I do think so, yeah, and I haven't seen any Protoss build Artisans in all of Battlements or Throneroom. And if Biddyby was here, and maybe he would be if he had stuck with Protoss, he definitely would have built them. But Lattice again, okay, Hamster gonna commit to it.
Man, it's the first game he lost, but he's going to do it anyway.
I know, yeah, wants to keep it going. Dude, we could
Makes you
actually see,
wonder-
like, what if AOT does bring it back? Is Hamster going to feel like that was a big mistake, right?
I wonder if either Hupsaiya or Hamster watched each other first, and that's why they're doing this, or they're just both of them in isolation and like, oh, why not let us?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Hupsaiya told me, or said to his stream at some point, that he, like, practiced with Veek to figure out the golems or something. But, like, I think he was talking about PvP, not PvT. So I don't actually know where that came from, right?
The thing about golems, right, is they're fine, but you'd rather just make zealots in most situations. Later in the game, I think you just kind of need the raw HP, so you take the golems. But early on, it's like zealots are just a superior unit.
Yeah, you say that, but, you know, apparently Legionnaires were healing golems instead of actually dealing damage, so...
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that I guess in that kind of situation, Legionnaires in particular are going to have a terrible time, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you can keep them clumped up. Well, he walks away with the gas, funnily enough. He stole some Vespene from that geyser and then flew on down to burrow his way into the natural. He'll enter the warp gate again. I don't think he's placed right for the warp gate. It needs to be, like, to the left slightly.
I mean... We've seen it's the superior strategy, right, to put it to the side and try and keep it alive. I mean, whether you unburrow it or not, at least then your opponent doesn't know that you scouted it. So it is a bit of a mistake to put it right on location like that. Still sort of Brood War logic there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to block it.
Yep. And, you know, we've seen that with people with mines as well, and then they realize that the mine just gets detonated anyway, so not very useful. But he's back. The thief is back.
Well, he can swap. He can get minerals and then go back to gas, although, you know, unlike Brood War, there's no, like... set amount of gas. It doesn't actually do anything.
No, you're draining the minerals, though. That's kind of big brain.
Yeah, but then they just get depleted. It's not a big deal, right? Dude. Okay, no picks this time. A little bit better micro from AOT. Going to see no losses this time, so very nice.
Yep, that's much better. And he gets right back into the right back into the mining for real this time.
Does he?
Yeah. Okay, that's better than
we did it. All right, we saw Zeph flood, by the way. Wait, he's going back to Throw Life. I was wondering if he was going to come across with Zeph Quas, because this is kind of fragile compared to Gateway. No Dracodons to kite infinitely, so you can actually get the kill, but...
Well, the Vassals need to respond to this, right? Like, he has nothing at home. He's got a Warden that's going to get snapped before it can even finish, even with the Vassals trying to trail here. So he's going to have to cancel the Warden, I think, and then after that he's going to have to think about, like, okay, do I need a redundancy pylon so that doesn't happen again like it did last game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, the game was pretty much over that point, but it was a bit of a rough way to go out.
I don't get attacking the pylon here. I mean, you could have killed the Warden for sure, or forced to cancel, or maybe at least brought it close.
I understand it, all right? Listen, we're coming from Brood War, we're traumatized by how ridiculously tanky pylons are, so you play Cosmonarchy, you're like, it's killable, we can actually do it, so you just have to try it.
I see, yeah.
You know, you're just drawn into it. So a bit unfortunate with those Zephs. He could have burrowed them too somewhere on the map as well and kept them, but now it's just like a 3 draw lefts that AOT could have had, you know?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Some of those strafes. Ooh, nice burrow.
Big fan of that.
Very nice.
He kind of he read through there. That was the golden path right there with this prescience managing to find out exactly where the vassals might fly over. So that worked out.
When you've seen in my play, I feel like this is just my opinion. It's not actually the way it is, but I feel like the way to handle this is not to try and like go back and forth and fight them with units. You just turtle up and just say, okay, you're going to get your fancy air units. I'm just going to get the Sprafes and draw up here. I'm not going to worry about you. But AOT is going for so many quads and stuff, and the problem is the quads become less and less useful as far as the game goes on. And Protoss is happy to make them work as a unit at the same time. Third one. Fourth one. Oh, man.
It's a lot of workers down.
Big losses there.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you had a Sprafe there, right, and probably a few quads as well, you at least get 2 or 3 vassals for your trouble.
Yeah, and you can maybe even, you know, have a bit of a increased vision range over here, so you don't get surprised as much. Like, there's a lot of factors that could fit into it. I would say that the harassment has been a lot more successful here for Hamster, even though the first time around AOT responded fast. But now he's going into this weird double pylon warden wall. Is he just going to go straight for Sky Toss? Yes, it is.
Hang on. Oh, okay. I do like the idea of doing a full wall and then going, oh, burrow, burrow.
There it is. Go. Okay, picks off 3.
3.
Not bad.
3 for 1 draw left, not bad, right?
We'll take those. He's going for Hydra. I think he just wants Bactals immediately to just shut down the vassals. But
Skiffs would be good.
Yeah.
Skiffs would be very good. Unlike Gladius, you don't need an absurd amount. Like 4 or 5 Skiff will destroy them. The way I found that out was actually in a Massacre game, interestingly, by the way.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Saved up my gas, because of course Pro's going to spam vassals in Massacre. Oh, that Hydra. It's a key unit. Wow. He's still alive.
Indeed. Listen, there's 13 of them still. You gotta watch out for that. More of them flying across.
I do prefer Skiffs, but maybe Backs will serve here. You get across the map, that wall is not going to help Protoss, that's for sure.
Yep, that's a fair point as well. I mean, you can kind of... You can't really outrange them, but you can still like hit them from the extremities. And wardens don't hold up to, you know, Zeth or even, you know, obviously Hydra
Well,
themselves.
especially not Backs.
Yeah.
Backs really, I think, are very good against wardens, if not engrams.
Oh, okay, this could be
Ooh.
different. If the Matrix is attacking, then it's
No.
just going to pump shields, right? So
And that's the Cyclops of Protoss, though, dude. You don't want to make that. I'm telling you, they still need a buff. We'll see what they can pull off, but yeah, hopefully keep his wardens alive.
what if Hamster just crushes the attack with matrices and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Crushes it so hard, like all the drones in AOT's base just die as well.
Yeah,
Shame.
right, yeah. They emit the Zelnaga Temple shockwave that blows up the whole planet.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
why
You need
Hamster's
to add
building
that.
robotics only, because he's already evacuated all the real Protoss. You know, he's
You need to add that as a building that costs like 10k. And you just, you know,
specifically
once you build
kills
it, 30
Zerg,
minutes-
but not anything else.
Yeah, right? You can build it in PvP, but good luck.
Yeah, it's a flex.
Yeah. Alright, well, I think if he falls back to his static defense, he can probably stay here. I don't know, man. Those backballs seem really scary. What are you going to do about that? They're going to get so many bounces at this range. They're going to start chewing through the battles. Warden's getting in there, but the front one's already fallen. Now it's onto Matrix. Well, Matrix Vassal sort of doing it.
Sort of. Those wardens, especially this one, stayed alive for super long thanks to the Matrix. That was what I was mostly looking for there, is would that be enough? And so far, I mean, Hamster's doing okay. He's got 19
Needs
vassals
high-guard
still.
idols or something. He can't do this with vassals, dude. The next wave is going to kill him. Well,
There's no Zeths here, so nothing can really deal with the sort of anti-ground, right? Like, he can't really get on top of the wardens.
If you run Zeths in, they're just going to let the matrices get their thing, though.
Yeah.
So, is that even a good idea? Pure, like, Hydra back would be the best here, I think. Well, he's going to go in. Is he going to get it?
Oh, he
Let's
does
get that
end up
warden.
overwhelming it.
Back.
Yeah. Okay, I
This
think...
is the thing, those vassals.
Yeah, the vassals are still enough here. I don't think there's enough anti-air. He actually pulls back. He didn't need to there.
Man, he should get an Exemplar, not a Gladius here, because they're much better for defense. But it is going to be a Gladius. Look, a few Gladius get out. He can probably stay in here, but he needs to keep building static defense. We'll not see another Warden or two. More Matrices. Maybe if you get enough of them stacked up on top of each other, they will just be invincible. Pretty good against backdoor bounces, I suppose.
Yep, that'll help out.
But that assumes something comes in range. If it's just backdoors, they'll just destroy them.
Have to see. I'm not seeing an immediate shot. I mean, one thing is that they outranged the Bactyl, so
Oh, I thought the Matrix only had like 5 range.
it's 8. Yeah, so
Oh, I didn't realize it got buffed. Okay. Well, I mean, I knew it got buffed in general. I didn't realize its range got buffed. Okay, never mind. Maybe they're OP now. Okay, listen. Here's the change you need to make. Make them only take 10 cargo space. Then we can talk.
Okay. Yeah, what they do?
Oh. Where are you, Londier?
Montier, you must deliver us from the Matrix non-believers. Heal the shields of your enemies by dropping the Matrix in their base.
Oh, does it work that way?
No,
Is it like
it
the
doesn't.
Archon? No? Okay.
It's
Does Patriarch work that way?
No, because it's like a debuff, and then whoever attacks it gets it, but it has to be allied to the Patriarch. So.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. If you're in a team game, but you unally your teammate and start attacking their sims, can you dupe them?
It has to be like a mutual unalliance, so they would also have to unally you, I guess.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah. We'll fix that some
Right.
other way, don't worry.
A little bit of harass here. I think Zerg has reached the scale where they can replace these, and I think it's fair to try and trade the vassals off at this point.
Yeah.
Although I do like keeping a number of them to sort of scout, and even one of the best things about them is just killing enemy scouts that are around the map.
I'm not liking this for AOT, though. I mean, look at the worker count. You look at the fact that this
Yeah.
base is now feeling impenetrable. The units have already made their way back across the map, trying to defend, and they are defending, but, you know, it's... I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like it's enough.
Once again, I feel like AOT lacking an instinct for who needs to go here. Like, I'd love to see him just take the third and, like, draw up massively, get tier 2. Because he's definitely in a situation where his opponent can't really do much except harass. A couple of sprays in the natural, you're good for now. Of course, you have to have a plan for those Gladius later, but for now, I think now is the time to really power that eco. And he's getting draw less, but he's not getting a third base.
He also could fix his gas pathing here by ordering his workers to mine from this angle. This is a little bit off.
That is unfortunate, yeah.
I think it's still perfect in terms of saturation, but it's kind of annoying.
Well, it looks bad.
Yes, it does. Psychologically.
This is what I'm saying. You need a couple sprays here. Oh, get out of there.
He had the idea, but a little bit too late. Where's the burrow? Okay, the burrow comes in now.
Yeah, that's big losses, though. And he's going to get those Kagrants, no problem.
Indeed.
Oof, big damage.
Kills the
These
larva on the
factors
way
in
out, too, man. That's insult to injury.
Gladius have no mercy.
Slaughtering the unborn. A couple workers out here that can get back on the line, but the vassal's sharking around again.
His army is not in position again. Well, okay, it does move back in. Yeah, backdoors are enough. Hydras will not have a good time there. Backdoors will. Once again, trading for draw left, and you know, AOT's being so low on draw left, he's still not able to pull ahead in economy here. Protoss third base is on the way.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like he had the idea to take a third, but in the hubbub, he's now once again dealing with the raid.
Let the army go. Oh.
Went all the way back to respond to the vassals more than it needed to. Hamster's just playing him like a fiddle, moving him back and forth. The Sprite's now going to finish. Get a little bit of extra health.
The thing is, Hamster's played this game like 30 times, whereas AOT might be the first time he's playing a game like this, you know? Because, like I was saying, it's hard to get practice in for higher tiers because it doesn't happen super often.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I say higher tiers, it's just like tier 2 for Protoss, but hey, there's still a considerable gas investment that's gone in for Protoss.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, big time.
Alright, gas hitting 900 again. Will we see AOT with more timely eye-roll this time, maybe? If you overinvest into Gladius and something like Calcs and Vifs can come out, you can potentially suddenly lose your entire army.
Well, we could tell he's saving for stuff because he's not actually buying anything right now, but does he realize that he has the money? I mean, he still hasn't been able to get his third base up, and yeah, losing that worker as well.
He didn't have to die, man. Could have burrowed. Alright, Gladius coming in for another round. He needs more Spraves, dude. It's not enough. Or to just leave some backdoors there on permanent duty. Okay, putting the arrow down.
Well, there's 8 Gladiuses. Where the burrow? Get the burrow. Okay, burrow down. He only loses 2 workers, it looks like.
Yeah, and you do have to be careful here as Hamster. If you start losing the Gladius count, it's not a good thing. I would love to see him just leave like 3 or 4 backdoors just there permanently.
Yeah.
Because, you know Protoss is not coming across on the ground right now. You're not worried about that. And the Hydras can fight the Gladius as long as there isn't dead ground for the Gladius to play around it.
Yeah, and the backdoors can fight a little bit more freely thanks to their range as well. So that's where you want that. Now here comes the Witness. Ooh. Now the burrow is not going to be enough. And these Sprites are not going to be up in time.
AOT committing the same mistake. I feel like his army moving out when it needs to stay until these Spraves are up. Okay, he's going to come in here. The Kagran's probably going to get killed by the Bouncers if they're not careful. Oh man, it's hard with this position. I feel like he needed the Spraves to sort of all be in the same line, but they're sort of spread out a bit. But hey, if he gets those up, he's probably fine here. Will he? The Vassals once again coming in to distract in the main. A third Sprave would have paid off here as well, but the count is kind of getting pretty low now.
Yep, only
like
losing,
I was saying before,
I think 1 or 2 workers, and yeah, there's 5 left over there. But there's still 10 Gladius or 9 Gladiuses here, so they're just going to see if they can try to pick off the Sprites, and in doing so, get a couple of workers as well.
He needs an overlap here for high ground vision, because yeah, that doesn't actually trigger the vision until the ball hits, which is kind of crazy. That is not going to finish.
Surely no way. He's got 5 health.
He could hit the far out Hydra and get that.
Yeah.
Is he going to do it though?
Okay, Alcag coming. We're finally seeing that money go down. Evolved Sprays coming in. Yeah, so that's a pretty big deal. When you think about the way that the Spear Tooth works with its bounce, it's great, but it crucially gives you +1 weapon range. So
he still needs vision though.
Yep.
Look, the thing is, Almacs seem tempting here, right? They're good in this sort of anti-harass situation, but they're actually not great at fighting the Gladius with a big army because they're too squishy and their range isn't that long, so it's kind of easy for Protoss to pull back and get away from them. So I don't know if Alcag's the right choice. I think you really need to get a bunch of ifs, whatever you do. I don't know what you can combine them with. Oh, hang on, here we go.
No, just
I said it wouldn't finish. Was I talking about tier 1 or 2, man? I've never made a casting mistake in my life.
It does die.
I knew it.
And it makes it.
Yeah. He needs to make the back ones. Just needs one of these to morph.
For sure. His Hydras can't fight this right now. Like hasn't given himself the right tools, I'd say. 2 Ardents coming behind this, so Hamster will have the tools to siege on the ground.
Dude, and that could be brutal. A Cantor plus Gladius would be insane.
Mind you, the Spear Tooth wasn't cancelled, so he didn't get a refund for the gas. That seems to be what he's hurting for the most. And
alright, Almac's on the way.
You did predict it. But Hamster's going up to a 4th base, and AOT still hasn't taken his 3rd.
Dude, I was looking at that Spear Tooth morph in the production tab, and I thought it was a Sovralev. It looks like that, you know?
Can you imagine? Then he's like, he's found a hack.
Yeah. You killed all my drones natural. Oh my god! Where did these vassals come from? Holy crap! I don't think a Spear Tooth is enough for that. He's gonna wipe these drones if nothing is done about it. Oh my god.
Well, how about the Spear Tooth too? Might as well take it all. Immediately trying to remorph, but that's not going to be nearly enough either. And the Almacs can't deal with that. They're single target, my man. And surely the Gladiuses can swoop on in now that they've confirmed that the military has come back in.
Did he kill the eye roll, I wonder? Oh, he didn't go for it. I think he's a bit scared of the Spraves now at this point. But, man, that's a good move. Just be like, oh, hey, I've got 30 vassals, by the way. He has 7 lattices according to the production tab. Let me see those. Let me see it. Oh, okay, wow. Getting those robotic units out. And this is what I keep saying, right? You might as well spam your money into vassals and go do something with them. And Hamster is embracing that. He's not even that much of a bank, but he is spamming out. Here comes the Gladius again.
Yeah, keep those bounces going, boys. This time around, we don't need to fall away. We have the witness for detection and everything.
Watch out, Hydra's on the side though.
Yeah, indeed.
Gladius. The Almix, but you'll see what I mean, right? The Almix will get picked off if they're not careful. They might get a kill. No.
Died.
You can see how many Gladius there are by how dark that shadow is, right?
I
What
know,
you need is Vif Calc or something like that. Would be really good.
Yeah, and AOT's learning the sort of push and pull of this particular matchup. It is a tough one. And if you want to have success in Cosmo, at least right now, for this tournament, a lot of our top players are Protoss. And it looks like going forward, we'll have Ecalypso to join that ranking, right? And maybe Passerino as well. So
we used to talk about the Cyprian meta, right? I feel like this is going to be known as the Gladius meta.
Yeah.
Because all Protoss are doing in PvZ is building up those Gladiuses. That's a lot of vassals again, though.
I know, dude. This is such a wild composition, man. Look at it. Quite the ball. AOT.
Give me 3 calcs, man. I want to see that.
I know, all the vassals dying immediately. Well, it's not going to happen, though. That was not the tech du jour for AOT. And instead, he's just going to watch in horror as his Hydras are melted. The vassals may evaporate, too, but that's their job. 15 Gladiuses just spreading that damage across the whole map. And there's not enough production, not enough anything over here for AOT. His hopes and dreams fall into the wayside. He charges down, try to surround with the Zeths, but they're just going to be receptacles for the binding plasma of the Gladius. GG. AOT is out of the tourney.
Good first run from AOT, man. Like I said, came in from Brood War. Didn't really know much before he even entered, I think, into the gauntlet. And he came through this far. Very impressive. But Hamster, he's so much more experienced, and he is clearly a championship caliber player because he was second place last time.
That's right, man. That's right. Hamster taking it to him. Setting himself up, man. At this point, we're talking about that lower final that we're all building up towards. And not only that, but we're also excitedly sort of salivating over the prospect of the Hupsaiya Hamster mirror match. That's going to be elimination number 3. Winner of that goes on to face the Shambler. Who do you have for that now? Man, who do you think?
I got to give it to Hupsaiya,
okay,
I got to say. Okay. I feel kind of weird doing that, but I don't know. I feel like Hupsaiya's more tenacious, and like we talked about, Hamster, he's not vicious, He's too skilled and honorable. I don't know what to say. Hupsaiya wants the win. He wants it bad. Me, Shambler, and Hupsaiya, we all want to win. Hamster, sometimes I don't know what he wants.
He wants a good fight, man. That's what he says.
There you go. Well, he'll have his fight. He'll have his fight, no doubt. But I don't see a victory. I don't think it'll be a 3-0. I think 3-1 Hupsaiya.
Okay. You know what's so funny is Hupsaiya himself wrote that he thinks he's going to 3-1 Hamster and 3-0 Shambler. So that's something he.
Well, of course he would say. Of course he would say 3-0 Shambler because he's not showing his builds on stream now and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, man, that does bring us nicely to the sort of conclusion of round 3. We have our lower bracket filled in. You're going to be sitting pretty waiting in the grand final, that best of 7, for your eventual contender. And as we see on our screen with elimination 3 and the lower final on the horizon, we are in the final stages of Acropolis number 1. The Throneroom stage coming to a conclusion. Presumably next week. We'll see what the schedule is like. Look, it's been a wild ride to see all of the different strategies people have put up. And I do have to say, I agree with your estimation. AOT making it into the top 6 does give him, like I said about Newt, an invitation back to the next one if he so desires. And I'm looking forward to seeing if he does stick with it, what kind of antics he can get up to, because he does have that Brood War macro down. He knows what to do about that situation, and he can be really tenacious with the micro. That's the one thing that I think he and many other Brood War players who have tried Cosmonarchy agree, is that you can say what you will about how you feel about all the different changes that are made to like tech trees and systems and stuff like that. But the thing that keeps people the most interested, if they're a Brood War aficionado, is just how awesome it is to micro units in Cosmonarchy compared to Brood War, where you don't have that random delay on units. You don't have like, oh, I have to use patrol instead of attack move or whatever. Like the units listen to you a lot more. And sure, there's the pathing troubles, but beyond that, which you're used to from Brood War anyway, many of which have also been ameliorated in some ways. I feel like AOT's realized, like, oh man, I can stutter step and do a lot of crazy stuff in here that wouldn't be nearly. It feels like you're always playing on like low ping or something, even when you're not. I don't know what you think, Neblime. You've obviously played a lot. So.
Well, BattleNet is just so garbage.
Yes.
Yes, it does feel a lot better. What can I say? But it is just more fun, honestly. I don't know what to tell you. Brood War's great. Brood War's like one of the greatest games ever, but then this is actually just better.
There it is. There it is.
So, you random citizen in the chat, I know you're listening. You should play this.
You should play this. We can all agree on that. Well, we can focus in back again on all the matches that we saw today. The Shambler versus you, Neblime. You coming in with a 3-0 victory. I don't know if it'll be as easy going when you go into the grand finals, no matter who you meet. You still, after all we've seen here, you still taking the Shambler over everybody else. You think Hupsaiya over Hamster,
Definitely.
Shambler over Hupsaiya?
Look, Hupsaiya may come in with Righteous Fury, but I think Shambler has his number still.
Interesting. Well, you did say that apparently the strats are not going to be leaked on the stream anymore. So what if Shambler doesn't know what to do?
True.
I don't know. I think a lot of it is going to come down to how fast the Shambler can adapt on his feet. Because if we have this whole sort of thing going where Hupsaiya versus Hamster goes down, and either one of those two players who takes it, they're going to do something really wacky we've never seen in PvP before. And how quickly can Shambler adapt to that, or is it even a threat versus what the Shambler wants to do?
Who says Shambler's adapting, man? Shambler might bring something Hupsaiya has to adapt to.
Fair enough. It could be. It's just, it'll be interesting to see what the stylistic differences are. Apparently, Hupsaiya is a pretty big fan of some kind of lattice-oriented strat that he's been able to come up with thanks to the help of Veek. So I'm just going to put that out there and say, man, this is pretty legit. I'm looking forward to seeing where all the things go. But yeah. With all that said, we've all already sort of bloviated about the Hupsaiya versus the Shambler match. We could end up getting a rematch, in which case, man, we'll talk about that again some more, of course. But versus Hamster, this is a reuniting of the Elimination 2B back in Ascension number 7 when Hamster made it through over him and it was a 3-0. So this time it's Protoss versus Protoss instead of PvZ. So Hupsaiya has a bit of a different look, but he seems very empowered versus Protoss. So I'm sure.
Well, you know what would be great?
Yeah.
If Hamster makes it through somehow, it's like the storyline. Now I'm the Zerg.
Yeah, that's right.
Same situation. Can I take him down again?
It's really crazy that I still can't believe he did what he did in Ascension number 7 in some ways. 3-1 iSarcasm, 3-1 the Shambler, including like a really wacky hour-long game where he went Mortothra core, and I was like, dude, you've got to play the finals after this if you win. What are you doing?
He made them pre-buff? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he made them before their graphic and everything, so...
Yeah, because I was sleeping during those games, right? I was getting nice and well-rested for the series.
Yeah,
I woke up and saw it was Hamster I had to play, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
Right. Yeah, he made it through the gauntlet. So that before the gauntlet was a thing, the gauntlet. Listen, we're talking about this matchup. We're thinking about how it'll all go down. I think I speak for everybody when I say that it was an exciting round of games. It was really nice to be able to catch the series that you played against the Shambler live. I think those first two matches had a lot to think about, and the third one was on Fata Morgana, so, it was fast. Perhaps to specification. I thought it was curious that map didn't get banned. And also in the Newt versus Hupsaiya series, it didn't get banned, but we only saw it played once. So, maybe it'll have its time in the limelight ever so.
Stop getting bullied. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I am looking forward to what happens in round 4, the closing round of the Throneroom stage. So as I fill in all of this stuff and consider, okay, got to make this match thread, got to get everybody back and running. We will schedule our next matches very soon, but Neblime, I'll give the floor to you. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I'll be waiting in finals. I'll be resting well like last time.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, with the timing went by, I guess you must have woken up kind of early for the match that you played against. Yeah, I
did, but not as early as the finals last time. Don't worry about it.
There it is. All right, stronger than ever is Neblime. We'll see if that holds true when we charge on forward for round 4. Join us then, and until then, you can always pop in on our Discord server, play Cosmonarchy with us, join the movement of playing what many are calling a better game than Brood War. Could you believe it? It's certainly better than Starcraft 2. I think everybody could believe that, but we're jumping in.
Low bar, man. Low bar.
Yeah. We're jumping in, man, and it's going to be a great time. If you like what we see, if you want to pad the prize pool the way Neblime keeps doing every time he wins, you can, of course, do that by donating via the coffee page. And you can also just send us money anyway, and we'll just use it to make the game better. So, GG's, and we will be back some other time. Peace.